Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the original Next Level Gaming. It is the NLG show. It is Tuesday night. We are back after a week off and then a week of playing Fall Guys. And
Yep.
Bit of rave. Where's Peter? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, somehow my camera said you do it yourself. It's like,
Nice.
okay.
Doesn't just mute the camera, mutes the whole. Doesn't just. Try this again. Doesn't just mute his mic, mutes the whole camera. What's going on, everybody? We are back. We're gonna have a great night tonight, and let's see, we have a fun, fantastic guest with us tonight. A great friend of the channel, a friend of ours. Great guy, and just happy to have him on. Finally, we've talked about this for a while, and finally was able to get it done. Mr. Boogeyman himself. What's up, Boogie? How are you, man?
What's up, man? What's up? I'm doing all right, brother. I'm doing all right. All things considered, I'm healing and recovering pretty well. So, but I'll tell you what, I had a lot of time to game. No, that's for sure.
Yeah, the knee. How's so rehab is going well?
Rehab's going all right. It's still tight. It's my second knee surgery on that knee, so it's still tight.
Oh wow.
When I squat, so it's gonna be that way. So I was told by the surgeon that I will have pain for the rest of my life in that knee.
Aw.
So, and the worst thing is that when he was in there, he discovered a tear in my ACL, and he was like, "So if that's not healing, we're gonna need to take you back next year and push you through 3 to 6 months of surgery there and recovery." And I was like, "Oh man, don't do that." I was like, let's hope that it's healing and we'll deal with it next year, like if it has to be dealt with. So, but other than that, everything's been pretty great. I can't really complain. Life's been good.
Everybody getting everybody finally getting healthy in the house.
Yeah, everybody's healthy. I mean, my girlfriend, she's experiencing some knee issues as well. And it's just, I mean, in my case, I'm getting old. In her case, I mean, our 3-year-old is a little bit of a monster. So
Gotta do it.
Stop shooting arrows to each other's knee. Stupid.
I kind of wish it was that way because they would have just taken it and they wouldn't have sat there and even bothered to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine having that constant. No.
Well, when I was 20, I was 19, 20, maybe even 21. I had knee surgery for the first time, and it's a lot of it has to do with the fact that I overwork it. I do things I shouldn't. At the time, I was BMX biking really heavily, and also working a job where I was lifting like a 300-pound machine and like 75 to 100-pound bags of insulation, and I was like a buck 20 soaking wet. So, I mean, when you look at me putting that kind of strain on my body, eventually something was going to give. Now, unfortunately, when that knee surgery happened, I wasn't at work. My college buddy of mine that I've known for going on 40 years now, or 30 years, I should say. I've known him since I was about 8. He got me the day off because he used to work for the company so that I could go with the Ozfest. And I stood up the wrong way at Ozfest, and I heard 7 loud pops over the music at Ozfest.
Wow.
And I mean, loud enough that I heard them over the live music, you know what I mean? And I couldn't bend it or I couldn't straighten it. And so then I worked on it for about a week. And then I was like, I got to get something looked at. Like, I don't know what this is. And I went and got it looked at, and he was like, yeah, you tore the cartilage completely out from under your knee. You're going to need surgery. And I was out for 6 weeks then. And then I felt a pain under my knee this most recent time when I was at work. And what I do now is build houses wall by wall and stack them on rollers and roll them out to be removed on a truck. I just felt the pain as I was doing stretches, and I was like, that's not normal pain. And I let them know, and they're a serious company, but well, if it doesn't feel right and you don't feel 100%, go home, get it checked out, then let us know what's going on. And so I told him, this is what's going on. I need surgery. And I've been out of work since April 20th. So.
That's insane.
It is insane.
I just fixed the echo. Sorry, guys.
Imagine being out that long.
I couldn't imagine it. And you
Definitely would get plenty of gaming in it, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I get plenty of gaming, and I get plenty of time in with the fam, too. So, I mean, like, I've been able to spend more time with my son. He's been enjoying that. He likes roughhousing with me. That's how I'm in this mess in the first place.
Which,
So we got him talking
which of
about
course. Oh my goodness. Well, we're glad that you're able to make it. I know that you're going back to you were heading back to work.
On the 25th. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we were able to get you in here before you did.
I appreciate that. It works with my schedule, and I'm glad you could make it work with your schedule.
No, absolutely. And you know, we've wanted to have you on for a while, and we've wanted to kind of start bringing guests back on, and it's just been life has just been insane for all of us. So, you know, trying to get ourselves back into the swing of things here. Although last week was really fun playing Fall Guys.
Sure was.
We had a really good time. I'm gonna bring some of that up while we're talking, and while we're getting to know Brother Boogie a bit. Let me pull up that so we can have something to show while we talk. And by the way, chat, you guys, man, chat is already filling up with some awesome people. I want to give a shout out to Zombie, of course, he's in here. He comes over from the, he knows me from Retro Roots and from Brother Geeks with Cash's channel. Is it still? It shouldn't still be echoing.
It
must be. Sorry. Okay, I got it. See, this is the weird thing. Some weeks, everybody's on their own Skype channel. Other weeks, everybody's on the same Skype channel. So it's hard to keep up. And I know if I say it's OBS, people are going to go, see, aha, OBS. But OBS, for my money, is still the best thing for us to use. So, suck it. We fix it.
Doesn't matter what you say. You could have said Skype, like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, right. Actually, Boogie, I got to give you credit. You're one of the few people that have come in brand new who have not had a problem right off the bat. Like, can't get their camera to work, can't get their microphone to work. So.
Oh, you give me too much credit, sir. You give me way too much credit. There was quite a fiasco here this evening when I was trying to get it to work because, as you can see, I'm not sure if you can tell, but the mic is kind of falling apart. And so when I booted up Skype and did the test call to test and see if everything was hooked up and operating, everything was coming through garbled and it wasn't recording my audio. My audio sounded like I was talking in a trash can through a muffled sheet. It was really bad. And so my girlfriend and I did some fiddling with it, and she got it to where it not only does the audio work, but the video, like everything just kind of it'll be here and speak without having any sort of problems. So,
all right, well,
shout out to her for being able to help me troubleshoot that.
Yes, absolutely, excellent work. And see the result is you are here. You're here. You were here pretty much when you needed to be. Hold on, let me moving this around so that I can put this up on the thing.
Hey, Myke knows Kung Fu.
That's right. Whoa. All right, there we go. And let's, change that over to, why is it doing that? I don't want the YouTube chat. I want that.
Jesse Garvey said they just announced the date for Bright Infinite Memory, July 21st.
They did. There's a lot of stuff coming out. A lot of stuff coming out very, 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 very quickly. I forget how many games are coming. Why, when you can use StreamYard for free?
What games do you need if there's SnowRunner? Jeez, come on, man.
Because, Jesse,
it's the best money I've ever spent.
Why? Because OBS is also free, Jesse. I don't get the genesis of that question. There we go. Let's but let me get to the point where we were actually playing because it took us like 20 minutes. Hold on, it took us like 20 minutes to actually get moving.
Yeah,
Get our custom.
required 10 people.
Yes, our required 10 people. Let's also zoom in on that. So let me while I am doing this, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, wait, so Bright Infinite Memory is not in Game Pass?
Negative.
Wasn't it supposed to or not? Or am I completely mistaken?
I don't know if it was.
I thought it was supposed to launch in there as well.
I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was.
I think it was just.
I know they announced it, but on the Xbox show, but
wasn't it part of a? Was that part of a, like everything that was shown will be in Game Pass or not that one?
No, this was back. When was this? This was like.
Yeah, it was like a couple years ago. When they showed it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this.
The wasn't the demo or whatever that was in Game Pass?
Was the demo in Game Pass?
I don't think so, because I think I remember
like
buying that. I think it was like $10 for that. I'm not sure.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, but don't you get a discount for the full version or the?
If you bought the demo version or whatever.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
You might.
Yeah.
Oh. Sure. All right. So real quick, shout out to the chat. So Back from the Dead is here. Brian F is here. Brother Dread is here. I'm gonna come back around to Spooky in a second. It's Timmy is here, brother Timmy. Charlie Hustle, who came from Spooky. I'm gonna circle back around
welcome
to
him, so I'll do it again if I.
Yeah. Brother Jesse Darby and when Noof is coming back, you guys gonna change your time? No, we're not. We're staying here. I love Noof to death, but he left. We took the spot because it was an easy spot to take where we could not compete. I can't help it if he's coming back. People can dual watch. I do it all the time.
We'll do a multiverse.
There you go. And by the way, OBS is also free, Jesse. So, Brother Yobi is here. Brother Nick, Geeks with Cash, we're just talking about you. And Brother Zombie. I like loving the Master Control program sounding voices here. I might have to do that just for that. Lurking and working, but dropping that like and share. Thank you, Brother Zombie. Brother Sean Dell is here. Sean, hey, you know, I'm following you on Twitter, Brother Sean, and you are not following me back. You need to change that. Fix that. Zombie says, I'm going to put you in the game, Flynn.
Shout out to Sean.
The EverCanadian is here in the chat.
Brother Pete.
Oh.
All right.
Brother Pete.
All right. So I want to swing back around to Brother Spooky, who I want to say thank you so much. Spooky and I got a chance to chop it up on his channel on Sunday, and it was a fantastic time. I really enjoyed hanging out with Spooky and just kind of talking games, and it was just really nice. And I got a chance to tell people, you know, my story for those who had not heard it before. And
hey, even for the people who've heard it before, because I've heard this story a dozen times, and I'm still I'm glued to that.
It means a lot. I mean, it really does mean a lot.
I just love to hear that. It's like,
you know, it's why I love to see people coming up, you know, and getting, you know, and getting into E3 and stuff like that. Cause, you know, I loved that time. And so, you know, it was just really great. I do love telling those stories because I hope people understand what gaming was like back then and what, you know, being a game journalist was like back then. We have game journalism today is as bad as regular journalism is today. And you know, I I love being able to reminisce and then go back to our site on archive and just see what things were like. Go back, read my old reviews, stuff like that, and Spooky really just gave me a platform in which I could just reminisce and talk about the good days and feel young again for a bit. So thank you, Spooky. It was awesome. And of course, he and Sister Trinity, we're gonna get them on here very, very soon. I'm gonna get that worked out because he's in Australia, so he is 14 hours ahead of us. So 9:30 p.m. for us is 9:30 a.m. the next day for him. We could ask him questions about the future.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
We could ask him for lottery numbers. Anyway.
Well, and he can go little time travel back to us.
Right. Well, because like I said, he is 14 hours ahead of us. So for him, right now, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
he's almost over the hump.
he is. He is. It's hump day for him.
Yeah.
So, but so yeah, so
well, it's still Taco Tuesdays here, so hey, happy
this is true. That's what I had for dinner tonight: Doritos Locos Tacos. So, no,
It's tacos every day here.
Jesse, I hear you, brother. You got to do what you got to do. You know, like I said, you can have one on each. You have one on each screen. Have us up on your phone. So, brother Big Block in the house. What's going on? Yes, Yobi. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, Yobi. Don't worry. We're gonna talk about that. Not to worry. So, and let's see. I think that's everybody in the chat. So, so Peter, how was your week and weekend?
Well, it was my daughter's birthday, so it was hectic with her birthday party because the place that we had reserved, the pool, canceled on us. Like even after they confirmed, like 2 hours earlier, and then 2 hours later, they said, "That sorry, the weather is too cold. I don't know. It's too wet. I don't know. We're in a pool, so there's no thunder, so it's safe." So I don't know. So we had to scramble, but we found right here there's a sports pub and had a bounce house. So people had and good food. So people were having a good time.
A pub with a bounce house, and it wasn't for the
Yeah.
adults.
It's not for the adults, no.
Well.
Yeah, it had multiple levels down there, so we're at the top floor, all to ourselves.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that's good times. And my daughter's with her swim meets and stuff. Tomorrow she's doing all stars. So.
Oh my goodness.
They qualified 18 out of 102 out of the Northern Virginia swimming pools down here. So you go in there and see what they can do. Worst case is they finish 18. Hey, we'll take it.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So,
very, very nice.
a lot of excitement.
Yes.
But I can't wait for swim season to be over with, though, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
It is.
Multiple
I think
meets and driving back and forth and all over the place. It's like,
Yeah, Spencer has. Make the chat just a little bigger here. Spencer has 2 weeks left. Something like that. Yeah. So I hear you. He's about done too, but he's loving it. So is Haley loving it?
Yeah, my daughter loves it too.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know if she really likes the swimming part or more the social aspect of it, but she's having a good time.
Yeah, my daughter just completed her swim team meets, and had a good time. Definitely got to meet a few parents and chit chat, but it was hot. It's rough to sit there and watch your kid enjoy being in the pool while you're sitting out there in 100-degree weather. You know, and of course we drink all the cold water we can and try to stay cool, but not the same. Sometimes I just wanted to accidentally fall in the water. Oops. You know, and that'll keep you cool for the rest of the day. When she was in practice, I would jump in the water before, you know, some of the kids would come around and play around. So I'd jump in the deep end, cool off, and then get out. So that helped.
Yeah, very. I think. Well, my wife who takes him to the swim meets and stuff, she volunteers, so she gets a lot of work in that way.
Yeah.
So, well, awesome. And your weekend and such, Chris, and your past week, all good?
No, it's been good. Got a lot of gaming in. I beat, I guess, within the last 3 weeks. I completed Sniper Elite 5. Really enjoyed that, and I kind of want to go back and do 1 or 2 or 3, I guess, right? Because that was and 4. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and do 4. Kind of go backwards a little bit, but and then after that, I was going back and forth because I saw Origins was in Game Pass, and I kind of wanted. I was like, because I need to get back to Valhalla, but then I was like, well, maybe I should just go all the way to Origins and then start from there and go Odyssey and then finish Valhalla. But Peter got after me. He says, no, you're almost done with Valhalla. So I jumped back on Valhalla, and I think I'm conquering one more region, and then I should be pretty close to completing the main story. I did do I did the DLC where you're with what's her name from Odyssey. So there's an event where you go on this one island and you do a deal with what was her name? I can't remember. But it was the character, one of the main characters, the female character from Odyssey. The good one, because you didn't want to play as the male character because he was a dork. Had a terrible voice. So.
Oh, you know what? I didn't play Odyssey.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Origins. You know what? If you ask Jacob, my oldest, he would know because he played Odyssey.
It'll come to me. I just having a brain fart because I'm old. And then other than that, just playing Fall Guys with you guys, and my daughters had fun.
That was a lot of fun. I'm glad they joined in.
So we definitely got to do that again.
Most definitely. We have to figure out a night other than Tuesday nights when we can kind of host some community streaming like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I know later we'll talk about it, but that's one reason why I'm excited for Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
Because of the multiplayer co-op aspect. So. And PvE, right? I mean, so we'll get to that later. So
right.
I mean, anytime we can get games like that where we can play with our friends, you know, do our streams, that's what I love the most about those games.
I'm loving those too. That's why I want. Sorry, I'm futzing with the. Hey, this is what gets me in trouble. I muck around with the show while we're talking. But I mean, I'm with you. That is, and we are definitely gonna talk about that in a little bit because there are. It's going to be very interesting to see the reaction for, or the not the reaction, but the reception for Skull and Bones, especially since honestly we thought that game wasn't coming ever. So, all right. So, Mr. Boogeyman. So since you are our first time guest, what we love to do with all of our first time guests is we want to know about you. We want to know what young gaming Boogeyman was like, what you what you played, what you grew up on, what you like now, kind of your gaming a little bit of that gaming history, and at the same time, your current loves. So we want to hear the story of the Boogeyman.
Okay. Well, in the beginning, no. No, when I started playing games, I started on my cousin's Atari. As the Atari, I think the 2600.
There we go.
I never owned one myself, and I saw him very rarely. So I think I got hands on it like once or twice. And then around the time my parents split up, I think I was like 6. I was 5 when they split. I think it was like 6 or 7 when my dad got me a Nintendo, and he got me like the big thing, the Nintendo Entertainment System with the Rob and the gun and the Mario with Duck Hunt, and but he got me a bunch of third-party games. So I think it may have been out a little while, and he just got it secondhand. I'm not certain. But I had like Batman, I had Ghostbusters, I had TMNT at one point. Now these games I got throughout, I'm not entirely certain if I had them all at the beginning. I do know I eventually got like Dick Tracy, and I'm really salty about that, as we talked about in chat the other night, the way that panned out. But so I play a lot of third-party games on my Nintendo. And then as I was growing up, we had, the Genesis and all that stuff. But I actually got a Genesis during that era. And the first game, the packing game that I got with it was Vector Man. And I played that for a while. And I played Brutal Paws of Fury. That was one of my favorites on that. I played, of course, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. What's funny is when I got my Street Fighter copy that Christmas, when I think the Street Fighter 2 Turbo had come out, the person who got it for me was one of those parents, much like my mother, who everything's a Nintendo, and so they bought me the Super Nintendo copy of Street Fighter 2 Turbo, even though I had a Sega Genesis at the house. So I had to go find a place that would take that for relative good value and allow me to pick up a copy of the copy for Genesis. And then, I'm trying to remember how old I was around that time, because I know I had that Genesis for a while, and I did have the 32X. I would say that hands down on the 32X, my favorite game was Star Wars. Death Star Trench Run, that couldn't be beat until here recently. And there was a time when I got really big into computers. I'd say 9, 10, 11 years old. And by the time I was 11, I built my first computer from the inside out. It was equivalent to a Pentium 3 processor using AMD technology. And the whole computer setup, everything, graphics card and all, cost me about $600. To give you an idea of how cheap technology was compared to where it is today. Because you ain't buying a graphics card for $600 if you're lucky.
So what card you put in?
Oh, I have no clue. I couldn't tell you that. The total system cost me about $600, and it lasted me for about 5 or 6 years. So actually, it probably lasted me longer than that. Now that I think about it, because I think it lasted me until about maybe 5 or 6 years. And then I got a computer around the time I graduated. And that computer lasted me until I worked for 1-800-GOT-JUNK and rescued a $700 Sunny Vaio off of the back of a truck. But I'm skipping ahead. Let me go back a little bit. So I started getting into electronics around the time I was 10, 11, 12. And when I built my first computer, something I did with my Genesis was I was like, so I built this thing. Let me take this apart and see what it looks like. And so I opened up the Genesis and I ran it without the case on it, playing, I don't know, it was either, I think it might have been Earthworm Jim, another one of my favorites from back then. But I played that, and just to see what it looked like when it was running while the case was on. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. I'm 10, 11, 12. I don't know what thought was going to happen. But I was like, okay, it's nothing special. It is what it is. It's a circuit board, and there's components on it and whatnot. You don't see electricity coursing through the machine when you're playing it, which I think is what I thought was going to happen, but it is what it is. And then from there, I got a Nintendo 64. And I played the Nintendo 64 because we didn't have like the kind of money to like get a system every time a system came out. So I kind of had to pick and choose. And I kind of went where a lot of my friends went. If they got a Genesis, I got a Genesis. If they got a 64, I got a 64. You know, that's how we did couch co-op a lot. And this is, of course, back before we really had, you know, internet gaming on console. And then I got a Nintendo 64, and it wasn't until, I don't know, I didn't get one launch night, but I got a PS2 that I got, I think, 2 or 3 weeks after it came out, but there's a story behind that, because I didn't have that kind of money. I got it out of the back of a storeroom from a buddy of mine who saw me looking at it for like a week or two. It was like, man, I see you coming in here like every day, and you're always looking at that thing, and you never come in here and pick one up. I was like, man, I don't make that kind of money. Like at this point, I think it was like 16. I was like, I don't have that kind of job. Like I work summer gigs and I'm not making that kind of money. I was like, but yeah, I want one. It's just, that's where I'm at. And he was like, I'll tell you what, you bring me $200 and meet me out back tonight and we'll see what we can do. And I was like, all right. He was like, hey, real quick, how many controllers do you want? How many memory cards and how many games? Wow. And so real quick, I picked like 10 games off the top of my head that I knew I wanted. And it told him, I was like, I'm good with a memory card and a controller. Like, I don't know how you're going to do this for $200 because I'm naive. And then next thing you know, I'm at the back of the spot that night, and I've got a PS2, 2 controllers, 2 memory cards, and all 10 games that I wanted. And the only thing I can remember thinking is, somebody's going to jail tonight. Like, you were not supposed to do that. But he was really cool. Like, he's a good guy. And I say that because, like, I knew him before that. I knew him before that happened. But I still knew kind of in the back of my mind that what he was doing was illegal.
And after that, you never saw him again.
No, actually, I did. And he told me he was going to jail, and he gave me a letter to give to somebody at a record company that I followed very closely at the time.
Wow.
And when I lost track of gaming, I found my way into like underground music. And so I grew up listening to like ICP and Twisted and stuff like that. I've actually met everybody from their record label by this point in my life where I'm at now. And so at that point though, I hadn't really done that. And he was like, look, you keep on mentioning, you know, you're going to try and go to the gathering, this, that, and the other. Just make sure this letter makes it in the hands of Joe. And I said, I'll do what I can. And I mean, I didn't make it to the gathering until I was 25 years old. This is like 10 years later. I don't know where dude's at. I don't know where that letter went, but I did hold on to it for like 3 or 4 years. And then it looked like I was never going to be able to make it. And therefore I was never going to be able to see, you know, Joe Bruce. But I did get to meet him, and I didn't have the letter. That's my bad, but it is what it is. So that's how I met that guy that got me the PS2. With Xbox, I got an Xbox working at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And I got that Xbox off the back of the truck, because when you work at 1-800-GOT-JUNK, what they tell you is if it works and they don't want it and they don't want it sent to the dump, you can take it home. So I got a brand new Xbox, and I got a $700 Sony Vaio computer, a copy of Warcraft 3, and I want to say the game that was with the Xbox was Warhammer Fire Warrior, Warhammer 40,000 Fire Warrior, and Battlefront 2 from Star Wars. And so I had those 3 games with my Xbox, and the moment I played it and I looked at what it could do from, you know, just a user standpoint, I was like, this is the type of hardware that I like. Like, this is like a computer, but not a computer. I can put my music on here. I can play my games on here. I can play DVDs on here. This is awesome. This works. Like, this is what I want. And but then after that generation, I fell off. Like, I fell off at everything. I was not in the gaming space. I kind of went dark. I was really much into like the underground music. I was going to tours and meeting bands and getting to know the Juggalo family, as they call it, and, you know, got to meet a lot of people doing that. Met my daughter's mother through there. and ended up having my daughter and moved and just up and left from where I'm at now, and was living in Kentucky for 3 years. And when I moved out there is when I got real close to all that like family business. I met a bunch of the guys in the bands and the groups and stuff. I met a bunch of the like different people that had like were, for lack of a better word, support for the record label. And I ended up heading a car club. And then it was like, I don't know, a year and a half into my stay out in Kentucky, and somebody pawned an Xbox 360 to my girlfriend for a bag. I won't say of what. I know this is a family friendly show.
Wow. Okay. Peter is missing this. Unfortunately, his PC crashed, and when he rebooted, it's installing patches. He is missing, quite honestly, could be some of the best story we've had on this show. All right, keep going, because I am riveted.
So about an hour or about a year and a half into my stay out in Kentucky, a buddy of mine had gotten a 360 and he was like, man, you really got to get on this. I was like, I don't know, man, I haven't gamed in a while. Like, this isn't really my bag anymore. Like, I'm more into like trying to help these guys, you know, run their, like get their shows out there. I was street teaming for different underground artists in the area, and I was running a car club, and I was also working and, you know, being a dad. And I was like, I don't know if I got time to really like sit down and buckle down and game. And the mother of my daughter was like, well, I want to play Skyrim, and we need a 360 to play Skyrim. And I was like, okay, well, if a 360 comes through the house and somebody wants to get rid of it, and, you know, you can make a deal with them, you go ahead and make a deal with them. You have my permission to do that, and I will find a way to get you Skyrim. And I had never played an Elder Scrolls game. I hadn't played games in years since the PlayStation 2 era and Xbox era. So I hadn't really touched a system in probably about 4 or 5 years. And then she got the Xbox 360, and I said, all right. So we went to a couple of different flea markets and whatnot, and I found a copy of Skyrim, and I was like, all right, this is such a big deal. Take me home. Show me what this is. Show me why it's so awesome, why this is something you needed to have. I said, I'm already on board because it's Xbox, and I played Xbox. I liked what I saw the first time around. And so we plugged in the 360. She turned it on, and I watched her play this game and struggle. I mean, struggle without planning, just running from quest to quest. You know, not making sure she had any sort of healing items or anything. Not really looking into the skill tree. Just running from quest to quest, willy nilly doing things. And she was struggling and complaining. And I was like, "Can I try?" And she was like, "Sure." And in about a week and a half, I was 90% done with the main story, and I had maxed out like a dozen different skill trees, and, you know, I had really high up their weapons. I learned how to use the crafting system to the best of my ability. And she was like, "How are you this good at games?" I said, "Well, I was gaming since like I was a wee little lad, and, you know, I just haven't played in a while." And she was like, "But what is it that you're doing differently that I'm not?" So I told her, you know, I said, each game has its own set of systems. This hasn't changed since I was a kid. Every game has its own set of systems. It's all about how you use the systems to make your progression work for you. I said, I just happen to be a really good archer, and I make sure to craft my own healing potions or craft my own, you know, fortification potions to keep myself healed. I said, and I collect ingredients everywhere I go, so I'm not missing nothing, and I always have them on hand. And what I don't use, I sell. So I always have gold, so I can keep the arrows coming in if I'm not chopping up the firewood and making them myself. And she was like, "But that takes too long." I was like, "But that's how you play a game like this. Like, yeah. You can't just run from point to point to point. You will die." I was like, "If you want to survive and have little, you know, bit of death and be able to progress," I was like, "that's how you have to play a game like this." And I think it was Dawnguard or Dragonborn. I think it was Dawnguard had come out, and Hearthfire had come out, and I was to the point now where like I had beat the Dawnguard quest line. I had, you know, built my own house, and I hadn't quite beat the main campaign. And we got into an argument, and she yanked my flash drive out of the 360 and corrupted my save.
Oh, that's when you throw her out of your house.
No, you might notice I'm missing some teeth. That took a little while. I was dragged by a car with my daughter in the back seat, and that was the argument that led to me leaving. And that's what caused my teeth to be missing. So then after that, I came back and I got myself clean. I moved back to the area I'm in now. I got myself clean for a little while, and I was like, well, I don't spend money on this anymore. And so I do like gaming. So I bought another Xbox 360. And then I found somebody that was really cool from Europe that wanted to play Grand Theft Auto Online. And at that point, I had been suckered into Grand Theft Auto Online because one of my buddies from Kentucky played, and then he went and got himself arrested. Fuck him. I'm not going to say what he did. It's too bad. I'm upset that I'm associated with it, and I apologize for my F-bomb. But yeah, I'm very passionate about my dislike for that individual. But he got me stranded one night. Somebody kicked in his door and took him away. And so now I'm playing Grand Theft Auto Online, and I got nobody to play with. And so there was an event coming up, and I met a guy that lives in Europe, and he was like, yeah, dude, you can join my crew. We grew up, and I played Xbox 360 Grand Theft Auto Online with him daily for about 8 to 9 hours a day for almost 3 years. So I would work, come home, play the game. And then I started looking at new consoles because now I'm kind of like, I'm into this gaming thing. Like I want to keep doing this. And the Xbox One was coming out. And the PS4 was coming out too. But I wasn't a fan of the hardware of the PS4. And this is just my personal preference. I have owned PlayStation consoles in the past. I'm not a fan of their hardware. It's no hate towards Sony or any of that. I just want to make sure there's nobody going, oh, he's console worn, because I'm not. It's just my personal preferences. I don't particularly appreciate Sony's products. That's a me problem. That's not a them problem. So I went and I looked at the Xbox One. I was like, okay, I like that. And I'm one of the few people that was like, oh, it can do all that with the camera? Sign me up. That's dope. And a lot of people thought, oh, well, that's invasive. And I was like, but do you see where it's moving tech to? Like, because that's where I was looking at it from. It was not like a invasive angle. Yes, it could be used that way if somebody nefarious was behind it, but the tech angle behind it was awesome. Like the motion tracking, everything. Like I thought that was genius. And so I was like, I'm on board. And then I found out how underpowered it was, and I was like, I spent my money here. I made my bet. I'll lay it. Like this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to play this console. And if I decide I want to go elsewhere after, not finding anything that really suits my fancy, which never happened, then I'll go elsewhere. I did get a PS4 shortly thereafter. Well, I say shortly. The same year the Xbox One X came out, I bought a PS4 at discount sale price and a copy of No Man's Sky because I think it had just launched that year. And the only reason I bought the PS4 was for No Man's Sky. And No Man's Sky, we all know how that launched. I wasn't too happy with it, but it was kind of like a zen. Like the way I looked at it at launch was, okay, if I want to fall asleep, I can play this for like an hour or so and I'll go to bed. Like that's how I'll do things. And then I got the Xbox One X. I got a Nintendo Switch. I had not had a PC that was working because the PC that I had before got struck by lightning. Literally, a transformer blew up because it got struck by lightning, sent a surge in, fried my surge protector and the PC. And so I traded in the innards of that to my cousin who builds PCs for a Steambox, an old Alienware Steambox. And for a while, that's what I used as a PC. It connected to my monitor, allowed me to chat, allowed me to play my Steam games. And at that point, like the only thing I play on PC is Command & Conquer, Civilization, and StarCraft. When I was 14, 15 years old, I played a game called, oh God, what was it called? Shattered Galaxy Online, which was my first foray into online gaming. And it was an online MMO where you built the units up. You had a squad of like up to 12 units of any type you wanted, ranging from infantry, alien, or what they called organic, tanks and starships and aircraft. And each one of them, you could modify all the different tech, from the weapons to the defenses to the shields, all of it. And you met up with people from all over the place and just you were on one side of the battlefield. You were either one squad or another, and that was your squad that you stayed with, your faction, until there was a merge. And then you could even work your way up to where you were like head of the faction council. And I was like, I don't want all that politics BS, but I do like all the customizability. I'm down. Let's play. And that game was made by Nexon, I think, and it was around for about 2 or 3 years. They even had trading cards that came with it. I remember that because I thought it was so weird. I was like, it has trading cards of the different units, but I can't buy packs of trading cards anywhere. It was a Chinese or it was either Chinese or Japanese developer, I think. But so I played that for online gaming, and that's pretty much what I did on my piece. When I got to the Xbox One generation and One X came around, I bought pretty much everything that I could get my hands on. And I spent far more thousands of dollars in games than I am comfortable with admitting. And I also bought a 4K television. Not like souped up LG C1s or anything like that, because I don't even think that was out yet at the time. But I bought a 4K television. And I considered myself good. And then the Series X was announced, and the PS5 was announced, and I gave both a fair shake. Like I looked at the tech in the PS5, I looked at the tech in the Series X, and something about the way that Sony was describing the PS5 rubbed me wrong. And I was like, I'm not a fan of how they're talking about doing things. This isn't interesting. Like it's very sketchy to me as somebody who's been in the PC market and not, been in the console market. I don't like the way this is all shaping up. And so I went Series X day one. I waited 17 and a half hours in line on launch night in the COVID era for my Series X. And I was one of 7 people that wrote it out all night. And then one random dude that showed up at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And we were all very kind to him. And we're like, look, man, if you're waiting for a system, the door says you're not lucky. Like, just how it is. And he was like, mind your own business. I know what I'm here for. I was like, okay, fine. I'm being kind, just let you know, in case you didn't want to wait around for no reason. And he got back in the line, which there's a recruiter's office next to the GameStop that I waited at, and waited in line for the armed services. I was like, just a heads up, because you came and looked at the door. That's the recruitment line for the military. That's not the line for here. And just trying to be friendly, and like, I know it was going to be a pain in the butt to get one. Hey, don't waste your time. There are other places you can check. Don't sit in a spot where I can already tell you that you're not going to get one. And about 10 minutes went by and he left. And I remember making the comment, I guess I know what you came for too, huh? And so, but the guys that I spent time with that night were really cool. One of them was a stunt guy. One of them was an old military guy. Like, it was just, people buying them for themselves and for their kids. And I was trying to keep up with a bunch of the launch shows, but I was far more enveloped by a bunch of the conversations that were going on in person. So I didn't really keep in touch with a lot of the launch shows that were going on, because everybody had a show going on that night about the launch of the Series X. It felt like everywhere I turned, I had like 12 different YouTube channels streaming something that night. And so I bought a Series X, and I'll be honest, I've never looked back. I don't have my Switch anymore, because when I bought the Switch, I bought a lot of games that I liked, but they were mainly multiplayer focused. And let's face it, I don't know my own friend code. What makes you think I'm gonna remember yours?
Yeah.
So, and that the whole way they did the chat with that was just like, again, it's down to user friendliness and user interface. And if you're running crap tech, I don't appreciate it, so I'm not going to buy it. That's just all there is to it. I speak with my wallet. I didn't buy a PS5 because I didn't like the practices I saw going on, and turns out I was right. They lied to customers on more than a couple occasions, and they've done some things here lately that I don't necessarily agree with. For instance, I have, I think it's almost 200 movies on my Xbox that I bought through the Xbox Marketplace. Let Xbox pull some stuff where they pull my movies out and tell me I can't watch my movies, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be real mad. So I just, from a practices standpoint, I was not on board with it, and I'm not. I didn't do it. Do I miss Sony exclusives? Ish. They all seem to be over the shoulder third person action adventure games to me. Like, that's just how they seem to be. There are platformers, Ratchet and Clank. There are racers, Gran Turismo. I'm not a fan of their graphics. To be fair, Forza Horizon 5 did it better, and 4 for that matter, in my own opinion. But yeah, and that's again, I'm not trying to console war. This is just how I saw it growing up and making these purchases. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm a lot more frugal with my dollar. I got 2 kids out there, so I'm trying to take care of my kids, and I'm trying to make sure that I get something for me that is worth the money that I spent.
That's fair. I mean, these consoles are expensive. I mean, $500 a clip is not, $299.
That's no joke, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get it. That's why the PS5 I got from a friend, and it's not even the full PS5. It's not it's the digital PS5.
Right.
So
The non-BC
one.
one.
Right. Yes. So,
but that's a bit of my
Wow.
gaming history. I mean, I can tell you that when it comes to, because I know you guys are very anti-console war here, and that's kind of what I appreciate about being in this channel's chat, is that nobody really, says one thing or the other. And I don't really, like, Myke remembers, and I'm sure you guys remember, back in the old days when it was Nintendo versus Sega, it was Sega does what Nintendo don't. Okay, I poke fun at my friend and there's nothing serious. It wasn't hate, death mail, or death threats, bad emails and, D-pics going to publishers and stuff like that. Like, it's not that serious, bro. And not to mention, you want to talk, like, the thing that I think is so hilarious about it is not the fact that it's over a plastic box. It's that 90% of your games are third party, regardless of what box you have. 90% of your games are third party. Like, before the Bethesda acquisition, I could have bought Fallout on a PlayStation. I could have bought Skyrim on a PlayStation. It wasn't a matter of like, Xbox has that, so I'm going there. It was a matter of like, I think this is where the better hardware lies. This is where I'm going. I play 90% of the same games that a PlayStation user plays on my Xbox. Yet the running tagline out nowadays is Xbox has no games. How do you figure? I'm playing the same ones you are. Jago Coogan, I think, said it best. He coined me as a third-party kid when I was on Retro Renegades. And that's the truth. Like, I play third-party titles. Yes, I play, exclusives from time to time, but that's not why I buy a console. I buy a console because I want the power that it comes with, or the UI that it comes with. Games are secondary. They're the software you run, but you got to make sure the hardware is willing to run that software to the way you want it to run it.
yeah, and that's totally fair. I mean, I know we kind of take the tact here, the position here that if you have it all, you can play it all, right? So
true.
Peter's got
but if you
Switch,
abstain
Chris,
from one, doesn't mean you're warring with another.
No, not at all. And I think one of the things that people do is, if you prefer one, it means you must hate the other, and you must do everything you can to trash the other at any chance you get. And that's where I think some people lose the plot. Preference and fanboyism, they are two different things. They really are. Most of us here, given the choice, will play our games. If the game is on both systems, we're gonna play the game on Xbox. It's where all of our friends are. It's where it's where this Fall Guys is being played. There's great advantages to it when we're streaming. I mean, it is much harder to stream co-op games on the PS5 than it is the Xbox. But I still have a PS5 because there are games on there I want to play. Peter's the same way. Chris be the same way once he can get one. I'm put words in everybody's mouth, but I mean, Peter's done some great streams, PS5 streams here. It's but I mean, the honest truth is the PS5 right now is kind of collecting dust until the end of the year, which we'll talk about. So
yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a preference. I prefer playing on the Xbox, but it's not because I think Xbox is better than PlayStation. I've had a PS3. I've enjoyed PS1, PS2s back in the day, and I barely had one PS3, and I got it for free and fixed it. But I was already pretty much hooked on 360, and a lot of my investment games were on 360. So, I mean, I never had a trouble finding games to play that I was interested in. So that whole notion about, well, that is better because first party, I'm like, well, the thing is, I mean, these consoles and so on, they play third party too. And while you're waiting for first party to be developed or whatever, or if you don't like what they have coming out exclusive, but I never really got into none of that. And eventually I'll get a PS5. I would hope that they would announce a PS5 Slim or something. I just don't care for the look of the PS5, but maybe
you don't like the behemoth.
No, but I mean, if they come out with the Knights of the Old Republic custom one,
all bets are off.
But then again, you look at both the Series X and the PS5. I don't think they're into making custom ones because you can easily customize the PS5 deals on the side, and then the Xbox, the Series X, you can buy a sleeve or something, So it's easy to just customize it yourself, but then again,
PlayStation should do just sell those custom,
the
custom
plates.
Panels like like God of War Ragnarok panels or whatever,
They might as well, maybe like a bundle, right, with the controller. You get a custom controller with the plates, and but the thing is, we haven't got one yet. Oh no, we did with the anniversary or the Halo Infinite, which was custom, right? Because it has the sounds, right? You have the the unique engraving on the
sounds and the controller.
Yeah. So that's one thing the Xbox has always been good about. They put a little bit more into custom console. I had the Spider-Man PS Pro. I really did enjoy that. It was huge, but I did enjoy the way it looked. I mean, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, so until it got stolen. So I still got the controller.
Oh yeah, you do.
Got the red controller, but
didn't the Gears Xbox also did that?
Yeah.
No.
The One X.
Was it a 1X? It had the sounds and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
I traded in my Scorpio for that one for $50 at GameStop, and they had the specials.
But
I still have the Scorpio in the bedroom.
Yeah, I just enjoyed all the different. They all bring something different. Of course, I have a Switch, and of course, I grew up being a big Nintendo gamer. So, but they all bring something different. And then now the Mikos, we're looking forward to that. The VCS, Myke got one, and now I got an itch for that. So I mean, there's a place for all these different types of gaming platforms, and retro to whatever. So I welcome all that. That's what we're all about. So,
of course, I'm not saying there's not.
No,
it is expensive.
It's expensive, and sometimes you have a preference on where you enjoy to play. Like Xbox is all about multiplayer, and we all come together. We co-op and this and that, and we all have a lot of fun. And Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's just mainly having fun. And it's like I could barely even keep up just gaming on the Xbox. And to try to do it on multiple systems, sometimes it could be, it gets expensive, and try to find the time.
That's part of what led me to kind of cut back. Like I mentioned, when I bought my One X, I bought the PS4, I bought the Switch, and I bought the Steam box. And I had the Switch for longer than I had the PS4, because by the time I found games on PS4 that I liked, they were all coming to Xbox, like Nier Automata, and a couple others. The last holdout that I was really kind of praying for, because my girlfriend really loves it, it was Persona, and they just announced Persona 5 coming to the Xbox.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, honey, I've been redeemed. Like I told you it might come. It came. We're good. And but I cut it all back when my son was born. There wasn't enough room for 4 gaming consoles in the house, and well, at least the one we live in. Plus, little hands. I mean, Mike saw it tonight. I was trying to set up Skype, and he was already on my keyboard. So I cut a lot of that back. The Switch is the one thing that both my girlfriend and my daughter have been begging me to get back, and so I will probably invest in that again. Which now they have that new OLED model with like enhanced battery life and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so I think I'll probably go that route rather than look for a launch model. But again, it comes to like I can't really multiplayer game on that with a lot of people because I can't remember. My memory's bad. All right, I spent 10 years doing things, and my memory's just not there. I'm not gonna remember your friend code unless it's like plastered somewhere on my forehead. But as far as like gaming in that like I appreciate what they have to offer. I just know what is and isn't for me. And I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody that has anything else, or plays like you prefer to play PlayStation, and I'll still be your buddy on Twitter or wherever the heck.
As long as you're cool about it, right?
Right. So, but I'm trying to think of where I was going with that.
No, I
While you think about it, quick shout out to XL1324 Gaming. He's a member for 14 months. He says, resting and listening are symptoms of ligma.
What is ligma? Did you catch that during your show Friday night?
Ligma.
Hold on.
Ligma nuts, he says.
Oh my God. Because
boot him. Reject his membership. Get him. Boot him.
Yeah, and another quick thing. If you're looking for the Masai M Classic, it's on sale on the Amazon Prime days for $79.99.
Oh damn!
$70 off. Just in case.
Oh my goodness, folks, get an M Classic. Good Lord, if you are a retro gamer of any kind, oh my Lord, get an M Classic. Let me see if I still have the M Classic video I can show you guys. Show while we're talking. And by the way, so I just want to Boogie. It's like quarter to 11, and I don't even care because your story and this kind of journey you went on was. I don't want to use the word. I honestly don't want to use the word amazing because I kind of feel like not all of it has been amazing. But
I'll put it to you this way: I dumbed down a lot of the parts that weren't necessarily PC because I know you're a family-friendly show, and I was like, I don't want to really go into all the dirt, but there's a lot more to it than that. But I do appreciate the compliment on the story.
No, I
you
mean,
live through it, and you learn. So,
yeah, it's really one of those things that. We get a chance to hear. So this is what the M Classic does for you, by the way. It is an upscaler. It is it does anti-aliasing. I mean, it makes good games look great and great games look next gen. Like watch what happens with Destroy All Humans. This is the reason that I did not buy the remaster, because honestly, the M Classic, and this is OG Xbox, this is on real hardware, honestly looks as good as the remaster.
I bought that remaster because I love that game.
I love the game too, but I didn't need it after this. It was just nuts. So
that looks really good compared to the prior image. I'm not surprised.
Well, wait till you
Big
see
shout
it.
out to DragonHeartYOBY. He's a
Brother
member for
Yobi.
15 months. And he says, hashtag peace, love, lives.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Hey, what's up, Marceau? Brother Marceau in the house. All right.
Hey, what's up, Marcel?
Guys, let's stop fighting in the chat, please. All right. We're talking games, not the place.
Hey, Matt, shout out to Marcel.
What?
I checked out his
Yeah.
unboxing of the
Steam Deck.
Steam Deck. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Good video, and he's got some good content on his channel. So
He does. He does. I love watching his Outrun speed runs. So, brother Totodope in the house. So, yeah. So no, I mean, really, your path kind of also mirrored mine a bit. So,
yeah,
some
mine
of
too,
the
a little
PC,
bit.
some of the PC work, going Genesis, getting the N64. I heard a lot of my own gaming history in there. So,
I mean,
now,
you were talking the other night. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you touched on something. You were talking the other night on Spooky Show about like Brutal Paws of Fury and like other games from that era. And like when you touched on Brutal Paws of Fury, I like threw my hands up in the air and went, "Yes, somebody else remembers that game." But like I feel like games from that era are way. It doesn't seem as creative a space as it once was. And I say that being somebody who played Clay Fighter, Brutal Paws of Fury, Dick Tracy, Phantom 2040, Predator Concrete Jungle, all different eras, but like
yeah, here it
just
is, Boogie.
so random.
Here you go. Bring the light over. My 32X version.
Yeah, there's a reason that I lost touch with gaming. My mom disciplined me in the best way that she saw fit for something that she didn't fully understand. And everything, and I mean everything, in my bedroom disappeared. And except for my clothes, my dresser, and my television. And that was it. Oh, and my bed. So that was there too. But everything, I'm talking action figures, trading cards, video game systems, all of it, gone. And believe it or not, it was because I had rescued somebody's trading card collection that their parents had thrown out because it was in a trash bag on the street with the trash. And it was nothing but trading cards in there. And so I knew that's what had happened, but I knew what I was looking at in terms of value in the cards. And so I took it home and started sorting through it, adding it to my collection, setting it aside. Basically, this is going to be my nest egg. I need to know what I have, what I'm sitting on. And all of that disappeared. Sega Genesis 32X, all of it, in like 3 nights' time after I rescued that bag of cards. I'm not happy about it. Cost me more than $1 million in value because I know what some of the things I was sitting on. But it is what it is. And, you live and you learn. I lost touch with gaming for a while because of that, because I didn't have anything to play. And it is what it is. It's not, at that point, I wasn't making money. And so, yeah, all the gaming lapses weren't necessarily by choice. When I lost touch between the Xbox and the 360 generation, the girl that I was seeing before my daughter's mother basically got me kicked out of the apartment we were living in. And I was told that all my stuff belonged there and it was theirs and I could not retrieve it. and to have the police that certain things were going to happen to me because of the environment that we lived in.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, life's a bitch. I mean, things, I grew up gaming, but there was a time there where I just got distracted with work, school, women. So I didn't really game a lot. That was probably around the time the Nintendo 64 was out. And I really didn't. My brother was gaming on the Sega systems. So he would get the Genesis, the Saturn, and he got the Dreamcast. And for some reason, I don't know, because, looking at the stuff that Myke got into during the Dreamcast and all that, looking at all the titles that were on there, I don't know how I missed out on that. But I wasn't really into gaming as much around that time or communicating with my brother. So somehow I missed out on that. But I mean, that's just life, things, life gets in the way, you get distracted, you just living life, or, so some of us missed out on some of these systems and games and so on. So it's that's a great thing about having a bunch of us together and talk about the games that we played that maybe others didn't play. So you kind of learn from that. And, and nowadays, I'm in a position where I can go back and try those, whether it's on emulation or so. So that's the beauty of it, because there's always someone around that played those systems or games that you didn't. So, we're all living and learning now. So it's never too late to go play an old game.
Oh no, it is not ever too late to play an old
Exactly.
game.
Yep.
I mean, come on, what do you
Talk
think?
about
What do
old
you guys...
games. I started playing Gold Rush.
Yeah.
Right?
Adventure game. That was great.
Brother De Niro.
Dinero Primero. I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, here,
What's
I'm
up, brother?
putting the link to the M Classic in the chat for anybody who wants to get one.
And just real quick, I'm gonna blank my camera out because I gotta change rooms that I'm in at the moment. My son has got to be put in his bed, so I'll be right back.
No worries. Let me see.
Damn right, Relic. I was busy with the ladies. I had to hide in the Nintendo 64. No, but I did get a PC. So that was where I was, adventuring in a set of consoles. So.
One night we do really need to have a one of our shows be about the old days of our computer gaming, because I actually really want to have a conversation about the Commodore 64, the Atari 800, 1200, the old PC stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
On Retro Roots last night, we talked a lot about music, and we talked about how music kind of evolved from those old days, from the 2600 and television to the ColecoVision to the Atari, consoles and computers, to C64, the Atari ST and Amiga. Then what came with more modern CD consoles. We touched on Saturn and Sega CD and a little bit of N64, and I mean it was just and of course culminated into the Halo theme and stuff from modern day. But I one of these Tuesday nights we should talk about those days of what we played, because it's what I'm doing right now. I mean, I've really gotten, ever since I got this Atari VCS, right? I've played more with the emulation. I finally got a chance to play some of the recharged games, because I am working on the next set of Atari videos. I'm doing one on the controllers, and I'm doing one on the recharged games, and I want to do some streaming of the recharged games because there is, what I've come to find out is I actually had to re-record the end of my controller video because the more I played, like I was really unsure about that classic controller, the one that looks like an old 2600. And I'm still a little unsure about it from a overall quality standpoint. But the spinner, playing the spinner on it actually works. So, playing Warlords and Tempest and Super Breakout and Major Havoc and stuff like that actually worked really well. And what I'm doing right now is I'm taking game footage. So I'm doing what I was doing with the with my Retrobit Saturn controller, my wireless Saturn controller. I'm trying to take some top-down footage of the controller while the stuff's on the screen, so that people could see how well the controller works. The modern controller is great. It works like an Xbox controller. I mean, it looks like an Xbox Series X controller, but the classic controllers is a little different. And so as I'm going through the VCS, though, I'm more firing up RetroArch. And what I just did over this past weekend was, I installed Windows 98 on it in a DOS box.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to run some old Windows games. I will say I might need to do some setting swaps because they're not running as well as I thought they would. But it's kind of neat to try to get them to run. So, oh yeah, Rich, I need one of those toppers. I love what you did with that. It's just weird that back me up on this though, Rich. The controller, the build quality of the controller feels a little more, and back me up, Big Block. It does feel a little flimsier than, almost like I'm gonna break it. I do feel like I'm gonna break it. But the spinner part is really good.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I might be picking that up one day. We'll see.
If it gets back down to $99, you should get one. And
definitely, yeah.
Honestly, Breakout Recharged, which is the first, is really, really good. And what I like about it is, I know people are mentioning the Amico in the chat. Everybody knows that we're patiently waiting for it. The great part is, Breakout, when it hits the Amico, is still going to be a different game than Breakout Recharged.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not going to be a matter of duplicating the experience. And Atari has really done I think they've done a good service with these recharged games. The next one I'm going to try is Gravitar. And then I got Tempest 4000, which I'm really looking forward to. So, but yeah, see, Rich says I can agree with you there. The stick's a little fragile. I just feel like, if I get
they don't make them like they used to, sir.
Yeah. It
like
does
you said, the
play
spin
well
on it, right? It's cool.
Yes, and Big Block says it feels a little loose, but the spinner is smooth. A topper would be good when playing Breakout or Circus. Circus Atari runs really well on with the spinner, because on the 2600 games, the spinner is like the old paddle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the more I played it, the more I was comfortable with it. I'm still concerned about the build quality, but it is better than I originally thought. And by the way, I'm still running this M Classic video. Watch again as this thing moves from 480p, which, by the way, this is Outrun 2, which already looks good, or Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast. Watch what happens when this thing moves to 1080p. It really, I mean, you wouldn't think that an add-on that sits between the console and the TV would actually do anything. Watch the car. The car goes into a much nicer, tighter package, and the detail just flies out of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Marcel, I figured you'd like this. I figured you'd like this part of the video.
Correct me if I'm
So,
wrong, but is this is the Amico you were talking about earlier? Is that the one that you brought up a couple years ago or a year ago that was bringing Earthworm Jim back?
yes. That's the one that Tommy Tallarico's he bought into in television, you know, trying to bring that out, and that one has at some point will be Earthworm Jim 4.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yobi, this is OG Xbox. Doesn't look like OG Xbox, does it, brother? But this is what the M Classic does to upscale OG Xbox games at 1080p. Unbelievable. So it's 11 o'clock, and we haven't gotten to a topic. But
What we do, sir?
My
what we
bad.
do?
No,
No. This is honestly.
We do this without a guest too.
Yeah, we do. But hearing, and I'll say it again, hearing your gaming history, and I love it because it also brings us closer, closer to you as a, as our friend and our gaming brother, and it really puts perspective into, to who you are, and I love it, absolutely love it.
Yep.
So. And all good, Sean. The modern controller definitely does not feel cheap. That the modern controller feels great. It's just the stick on the classic controller. That's all. So, hey, brother, what just happened? All right, so let me click over here, Peter.
Next topic. E3 2023, the return.
Yeah. And I know the Yobi's been waiting patiently for us to talk about this. So it was announced. Oops, sorry, hit the wrong thing.
I'm surprised Doomhammer didn't tweet you and said, "Aha!"
I'm surprised he didn't too.
I was waiting for that one. Give it time. We'll give it time. Maybe he'll do it next year when it's officially out. Right?
He's too busy with his pit boss, like.
Yeah.
That's right. Infinite, brother Infinite's in the house. Woohoo, made it. All right. So, now this is going to be a little different. So I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to get your guys' take on how this is happening. So, on the 7th, so last Thursday, we saw a tweet from E3 that said, "We're back." Oh, so I make this smaller. Sorry, I'm still, all right, so I got to tell you guys this too. Thanks to our graphic designer and brother, graphic god, Jay Williams. I don't know if anybody but us noticed a little slight difference in our screen here and how it looks. I was told by Jay we needed a small upgrade, and so but with that I have to resize everything. So
Thank you, Jay.
yeah.
Keeps us fresh.
Mr. Ventress in the house. Yep. So I'm going to be working on kind of normalizing the topics on the right. I just need to give it a look. I need to get the Gamers United Guild logo somewhere in here. I already worked on the chat here, but once again, Jay is the man. We love him so much. But anyway, so here we go. We're back. E3 will take place in June at the LA Convention Center, where they with new partner ReedPop, the folks behind PAX.
We're back.
Chris is not impressed.
Apparently not.
So I'm gonna bring up this article. So they reference the
But
article.
I'm glad they
from
said they mentioned PAX, because otherwise I have no idea
who
who and
ReedPop
what
is.
ReedPop was.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see if readpop.com. Watch it take us to a porn site.
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
here we go. So readpop.com. We create the world's best events, websites, and YouTube channels for pop culture fans across the globe. There you go. They've worked on New York Comic Con, the Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim, and PAX East. So there you go. Let's see if they
And I guess soon, E3 2023.
Yeah. So they do BookCon, C2E2, Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. They do EGX, which is a big show over in the UK. Comic Cons, Minecraft Festival, PAX Australia, PAX East, what used to be PAX South, PAX Unplugged, PAX West, Star Trek Mission Chicago. So there you go. There's that's ReedPop. They do. We work with our various service teams to enhance your presence at one of our shows. All right. So they reference this article by Games Industry Biz. Let me see if I can. You know what, let me do it this way. There we go. That way we get rid of all the excess bullshit. Games Industry Biz parent. So that's why they reference Game Industry Biz, because ReedPop owns Game Industry Biz. All right. And Games Industry Biz is a good that's a good publication, by the way. I'm not trying to pump up NLG, the old site, but Games Industry Biz now is sort of what NLG was back in the day. You know, no taking sides of things. No, they just, they brought you the news, and how you feel about it is how you feel about it. So the two organizations will host E323 in its traditional home at the LA Convention Center during the second week of June. So they are keeping it in June, not moving it back to May, where it used to be a long time ago. Media registration, which has been streamlined and given added security, will open later in the year. So they are fixing that issue. You guys remember the leak a couple years ago? Now, here's the thing. This is all well and good, and I can see, I can see this being a PAX style event. But, and I want your guys' take on this. I will simply say this. E3 isn't E3 if the big guns don't show up. So it's great that they have a veteran company that puts the show on. And if PAX, Chris, you've been to PAX South.
Yep.
I definitely want to go to PAX East one year. So, yeah, what just happened said X Pony. Yes, I know. As a joke from Sunday night. It's going to still need Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, Ubisoft, Konami maybe, but Ubisoft at least. it's gonna take companies showing up to it that aren't just indie developers for this to really be E3 again. We've already seen that Sony has all but stopped coming to these shows. And in fact, Sony is not even going to Gamescom this year. So, you know, I've always said that E3 was kind of in its last legs. And I see them trying to make this comeback. I would love to see this be successful. My question to you guys is this too little too late to try to revive the show? Can they get the big guns? Can this be successful? Who wants to start off?
Let Boogie go up. Guess.
All right.
If you want to.
Our good guest, Boogie.
I mean, I'm of two minds of it. And keep in mind, this is being that I've never been to an E3, always wanted to go, but never really had the chance. I think it kind of is too little too late because you've seen the likes of Sony pull out of it. And I mean, I think when I think to that, I think of, it didn't about a year ago, Sony said something about doing 100 shows and then they don't show up to any. But then you've got EA, which they do their own thing, EA Play, pretty much. I mean, it's in that same weekend, but it's typically not at the same convention center, if I'm correct. And then you got Nintendo, which, I mean, they've had their ball in their own little corner playing with it themselves, doing their own thing, doing Nintendo Directs every now and then, and pretty much doing their own thing. Every now and then you would get like a treehouse event, like a big thing, where it would be like, I think Breath of the Wild had a big thing at that E3. But it kind of seems like, as much as I don't want to say it, because I know there's a lot of people that have, been and want to go, and I know that there's, a lot of history in it. I don't think we're going to get it back the way that we got it beforehand. And I don't think it's going to, my worry is it's going to come back and then in a year or two be dead anyway. I mean, yeah, you've got Reed Pop from PAX working on it, but I kind of feel like it's a conflict of interest to have somebody that has their hands in PAX and in EGX come and work on E3. But it is what it is. They're going to do their thing. They chose to be in bed with that partner. But there's nothing stopping them from setting it up to fail if that's the way they went to go. Not saying that that's going to happen. Just I try and keep all possibilities in mind. And I worry that there's a chance for more negative to be done than positive. However, going back to what you said about, it's going to take more than the indie developers to really hold up E3. I could say I agree with that, but I would also say I kind of disagree with that. Seeing some of the quality of some of the indies that we have gotten as of late, I honestly think there should be a show for all those devs to get together and it not be the big players. And you get to see a lot more of the smaller stuff. I mean, but at the end of the day, what I ultimately feel is anything is better than this. We've got 100 different shows going on from freaking May to August. Like, it seems so ridiculous this summer.
Well, so let me before I go to Peter and Chris. I want to clarify. Let me clarify something on that. I'm not. So PAX was that show. It kind of still is that show. That's the big kind of indie. That was the big indie show before Sony and Microsoft, and I don't know if did Nintendo show up to the last PAX South that you were at, Chris?
No, not the last one.
Yeah,
The last time they showed up was when they were showing off the Switch.
Gotcha. So, I'm not trying to, here, I'll just bring up an E3 logo here. I'm not trying at all to disparage indie developers, of course. We've come to find out that you're absolutely right. Some of the best games we've seen, honestly, this generation, have come from indie developers. Peter was talking about one, at the beginning of the show with SnowRunners.
Right.
So,
Oh yeah.
So I don't want to. I'm not trying to necessarily say anything bad about indie developers in any way, shape, or form. What I'm saying is that in order for E3 to survive, it can't rely on that alone because there are already other venues for those games. E3 was always, the quote Super Bowl of gaming, right? It was, gamers Christmas / Hanukkah / Kwanzaa / Festivus / whatever holiday whatever holiday you have in the month of December, right?
Yeah.
So it was all that together. It needs, in my opinion, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo.
Yeah, we're never going to see that. Because everybody has their own events. And Nintendo has their own events throughout the year. Sony does whatever they have their shows whenever they feel like.
Data plays, right.
Right. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Ubisoft is whatever, EA is whenever they, feel like, or so all the big guns won't be there. Doesn't mean we can't have it with indie developers. It's just, it's never going to be the E3 as we used to know it.
And that's right. That's what can this one be successful, Peter?
It can, if if the expectations can be met. You have to. There might be. And I don't know what to expect, so I don't. But I mean, it could be great. Could be great for for indie developers.
Okay. All right, Chris.
I know in the past when we would talk about this, and because I had been to so many PAX, I felt that E3, because like you said, Myke, the E3 that we knew is gone. And you've seen it over the years that it slowly was deteriorating from what it used to be. And I felt that times have changed, that they need to, and PAX over the years kept growing and growing and becoming more successful, even though their main focus was on indies. But PAX also started bringing in the big guns. Now, you're not going to have, like an E3 type deal, what they had in the past, but they would bring in, when there are certain games that were coming out, like I told you before, the Nintendo, when they switched. So they had a Switch booth and they were showing that off. So when there's certain big games that, maybe Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox have, they would show up at a PAX. And I think the biggest one that they would show up more was PAX East. And but there was one year where we had a Xbox area, and they didn't have gameplay, but they had a big old banner for Crackdown 3, and they had a little area, you could win prizes and stuff. And Sony had a big booth to show off Days Gone and some PSVR. And but then you also have sprinkled in like Capcom. They always have a big booth. Square Enix had one year. So you get stuff like that with some of the bigger publishers. But of course, the bigger area is the indie developers, showing off their games. And I always felt the PAX have done a good job doing that and attracting all types of people from the industry, big and small. And I think now that that management group has taken over E3 because it needed to happen. What E3 has been doing, they just couldn't survive during this pandemic era. And once Geoff pulled away and doing his own thing, and then of course Sony said, "Well, we're not showing up anymore." They're doing their own state of play, and of course EA and Nintendo really doesn't show up. So that really hurt them, because if you don't have the big three there physically and bring all their big guns to show off, then, I mean, what is there for E3? I mean, because the past couple of years, well, a few years back, they went from just media and guests to opening it up to the public, right?
Right.
And that first year they did it, there was a lot of criticism how they did it. It was a mess. The media people really, they were supposed to have their time, but then it just kind of blended in, and it was kind of chaos, and it's hard to really get in there for some of the media people to do what they need to do. But over the years, times have changed, whereas the traditional media sites are now you have podcasters and YouTubers and streamers and influencers that are now become more relevant, and so now they have their piece of the pie. So it's become pretty difficult for them. So, but the pandemic has shown that now like Sean brought up, in the indie scene, I mean, they don't necessarily need just PAX themselves either, because now they have different indie shows that this past couple of years, they have really flourished on indie streaming shows. But PAX has done a great job, like EGX and PAX South, East, and West, to bring those games that they show streaming that people can get their hands on. And I think that's important, because you can show them, but once you're there playing it and talking to the devs, it's a different experience, and you get that better understanding of what the game is. But I don't know. We'll see. If I think PAX understands that E3 is in LA, and that's big. So I think they're gonna, with what they've done over the years, I think they will try to get talk to the big three, talk to some of the big publishers, and look, we don't expect you to do what we used to do, but maybe show off one game or two, bring something to E3. It may not be in person. It could be a stream. Maybe they can work something out with Sony and say, if they have a game that's coming around that time. There's a lot of games coming around 23. A lot of games have been delayed to that year. So I think if the big three can work something out and E3 can do a good job with them, make it worth their while, they might bring, whatever the games that are coming soon around that time. And we can see that at E3. So there's going to be some competition, because Keely's also going to be trying to get some of those games to be shown on his show. And even though E3 didn't come out this year, he did okay, but his show wasn't like all that. And he calls it Summer Game Fest. And I guess at some point there'll be other announcement, but I've seen a lot of people since E3 said they're going to come back. And so I've seen a lot of excitement from a lot of people in the gaming community, especially those who have been before, because E3 is something special that, I mean, I think PAX has done a great job bringing people together, but E3 is something that's just different. So if the PAX management can somehow do a good job of managing to where they can balance the media time, and then now we got everybody on the floor, and people show up, and it's exciting. You have stuff to see. You got some exciting stuff to be there and witness in person. It could work, and I think if they do a good job, who knows? Maybe E3 could travel, maybe in New York, or maybe be somewhere different. I know they put a hold on PAX South, so I'm not sure that's coming back here. It may move to another city, or who knows. So it'd be interesting to see what happens next year. It's gonna be a lot of games coming around that time.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot.
So it's up to E3 on how they attract publishers and to show up. And it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix of online and in person. They're just going to have to work with people. And plus the cost of being there, E3 was expensive for them to show up there. I mean, PAX is still expensive to have a booth there.
Yeah, but it's not as expensive as E3.
Not as expensive as E3, yeah.
E3,
so they need to be worthwhile to make it attractive.
Yeah, an E3 booth could be millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Depending on what you spent. Oh. So Relic asked a question I want to bring up to you guys. Let me go back to where it was. He says, don't you think E3 is less relevant when the variety of developers over the years have gotten eaten up by bigger companies? That's a great question. I mean,
yeah.
The only players left in the market that aren't owned by somebody else, well, I guess
and a lot of some of those were on stage too of the big guys, right?
Yes. I mean,
so, and if the big guys don't do shows, then
they can't show their games off.
The facetious part of me just says the Embracer Group needs to hold their own show.
I was just thinking, oh my God, I was just thinking Embracer.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
The E in E3 is for the Embracer Entertainment Expo.
Well, I mean, think about it. They got something like 200 developers, it looks like, whenever you look at those graphics underneath them. I think is that the actual number somewhere in the 80s. But I mean, they've got so many developers underneath of them. They could just hold their own show and just have it be that. And I mean, that is a lot of indies, and it's also a lot of like a few AAAs in there. So there's quite a breadth of games that they have their hands on. But I think you have enough indie developers out there making, some sort of name or noise for themselves that you could have an indie focused show that's a little, I would say, bigger than PAX and still have like some heavy hitting names to it without necessarily having the big like three or like your Capcom or your Square or your Ubisoft or your EA, because I feel like they have all discovered during the pandemic era that they can do whatever they need to digitally and pretty much get their name out for their games, whether or not those shows are completely successful, because I have thoughts on both Capcom and Square, the presentations they've had over the past 2 years. Yeah. But whether or not they hit the same way, they still do it. They can have still proven they can do it themselves. So the chances of us getting them back either would probably be slim to none. I don't know. It's difficult to say when you look at the way the market has played out the past 2 years versus how it was in the past.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think people also, the pandemic changed a lot, right? Because what it did was it showed a lot of these companies that they didn't have to spend $10 million to put together a booth at E3 to get their message out, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have to, they could have a they could have a digital show, right? Sony has figured out that all they need to do, right, is to do a state of play. That's all they need.
Yeah.
They don't need an audience. They don't need they don't need a live thing. They just need to show it. Nintendo just needs a Nintendo Direct and a Treehouse. Microsoft, I give them credit because they do it for the fans, right? So they have a fan fest, but they can have fan fest anytime they want.
Yeah. And they're going to show up at Gamescom, and I think that's kind of what they're going to have. Maybe their own Xbox Fan Fest there, and just dope. They were saying they were going to show new stuff or updates or whatever on what was already announced. So nothing, crazy, but
right.
But the E3, I would think that this management, PAX management, will understand that they have to, because it's E3. What are they going to do that's different than just the other PAXs? And it's like like you said, it has to be more than just indie developers. But like I said, they've done that before. They sprinkle in bigger stuff, and but you don't have someone like Geoff to be a host of E3. So they have to. I think they need to find someone that can also grab attention. Maybe go grab an actor or someone that can help bring excitement to E3, and they could be the main host. But who are they going to get to do that? Because PAX doesn't really do that on their end, right? They don't really PAX. They leave it to the industry, the developers,
right.
the streamers, and whatever to do all that. So, but E3 is different. So I really feel like they need to do something to grab attention away from Keighley. They need to have someone there that can do that.
Well, and Keighley has the Video Games Awards at the end of the year to hype up his next Summer Games Fest.
Yeah. And Xbox is going to be there. They're going to do their thing, right? I think E3 will do their thing, and maybe Xbox will be around that same time, because they've done that, Sunday, and then the rest of the week is E3. So maybe they'll still plan their deal around that same time, just that way. It's all you're having all these people showing up around the same time, celebrate E3, but also be there. You can go to Xbox Fan Fest and stuff like that throughout the week. Now, Sony and Nintendo, yeah.
EA did the same thing. Remember when they went to EA?
They had their own spot, yeah.
They had their own spot. They did
so
their
did
own
Bethesda,
thing.
right? They had their own theater that they did stuff.
Yep. Now, Bethesda did an E3 conference. So, that's...
Okay, theirs was still part of E3?
Theirs was still part of E3.
Yeah.
Ubisoft was still part of E3. So, the question is do they come back? Ubisoft's in a weird position, and I know Peter...
yeah.
We're gonna try to touch on that. We may have to... We may have to do a very quick happy anniversary Atari. But and another question that came in from the chat, did E3 get too big for itself? Which I'll ask you guys, or has E3 gotten too big for its own goods, as Brother Lance Jennings? My answer to that, before I kick it over to you guys, is I don't think the show got too big for itself. I think that the change in media made it that way, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I talked about this on Spooky's podcast, right? So in the old days in the 90s and in the early 2000s, so like in the late 90s, 2000s, I would walk around with a camcorder, right? That's how we got footage. And I couldn't post it until I got home and put it on my capture card and did all this work because the hotel internet was garbage. There was only media. So we didn't fight fans, we didn't fight, big crowds except for other media to do what we needed to do. Now, everybody with a cell phone can be a journalist.
Yeah.
Or cover a game. And now that fans go to E3, or we're going to E3, and I'm assuming they'll go again this year, there's no need for the media. So it just becomes a fan fest and not a media show. So, again, that's why I think companies can do their own fan fest whenever they want, and they don't have to spend E3 money to do it. And I don't think you'll ever have Sony and Nintendo doing a live press conference ever again.
Not on the scale like they used to. I could see them doing maybe a 1 or 2 booths, depending on if there's a game that they really want to kind of show off, and maybe if this E3 can do a good job to grab a lot of attention, viewers, and so on, then maybe that might get Sony and Nintendo's attention, and maybe other publishers like, well, maybe next time we want to be part of this. We like the way it was handled this time around. And like you said with the media, PAX does a pretty good job of that, because they do, I think you can go in a couple hours early each day, because PAX are 3-day events. And of course, you have to apply for a media pass and all that, so that not anybody can just do that, right? And of course,
Right.
A lot of that stuff is when the people who do apply for the media passes, you set up your schedule with the people that you're gonna get with. So, like what's his name, Fame. I saw them putting in the work and scheduling interviews and all that with different devs. And one time they like, hey, come join us. They allowed me to come in with them and kind of watch them do their stuff and even play a game while they were doing that. So I think PAX will handle that a lot better than what E3. E3 didn't really handle that well with the mix of everybody on the street plus the media.
Yeah. Peter, what about you? And you see it that way?
I don't know.
Hard till it gets here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the killer thing. I mean, I hearken back to something Sean said. I'll give this new E3 a chance, even though we know E3 will never be the same again. I always embrace and love changing. I know some people don't like changes, and some do love changes. So, we won't know till it gets here. Boogie, what about you? Oh, Boogie might. There he is. Although I think.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Trying
to make sure that background noise doesn't come through.
No, we don't hear any.
But
You're good.
I know this has noise canceling. It's just I don't trust it. I mean, I think it's hard to say where we could see things go, just because you look at. I mean, PAX was kind of developed. I've never been to that either, but the way I understand it is that it was kind of developed with the fans in mind first, and then press and whatnot would go and get involved. But they made it work that way. And I think, if I remember correctly, E3 was developed the other way around originally, where it was mainly a media outlet thing and not a fan thing centered.
Correct.
And then
That's
it
correct.
kind of, as things went, they kind of expanded to that. And you're right, it is hard in this digital age where everybody with a cell phone can technically be a journalist. Not that everybody should, not crapping on anybody, just saying that there are some people out there that think they got a cell phone and all of a sudden think they got a journalism company. Some people have the talent, others don't. That's all I'm getting at. But when it comes to, you know, whether or not we're gonna see things that way, I don't think we're ever gonna see things the way they were. But the thing that I'm curious about is how you all feel about is, you know, I don't think E3 outgrew itself so much as the big three kind of grew into a place where they didn't need something like E3, and there's nothing to fill the void, and far too many like E3 or PAX like events all over the place for there to be one simple, you know, congregation, because they are happening all over the place now.
Yeah.
And, you know, so how do you get back something like E3 when there's already so many dedicated events, and you've got your big three pillars have outgrown your style of event and proven that they, you know, they can do things on their own. That's why I said earlier, you know, a giant indie focused con with like some of your biggest indie devs could be awesome, which I've never been to PAX and didn't know that's mainly what that was, which if we already have that, then I don't know what you do for E3. I think you're right to give it a chance, but I don't think we're ever going to see a day where it was like it was in its heyday.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to evolve. It's going to evolve. It's going to be different. For sure. So.
Well, so we'll see what happens, and best of luck to Reed Pop, and best of luck to you, Yobi, for getting in there. So.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've hit that one pretty well. Try to roll through a couple things here. Peter?
Next topic. Happy anniversary, Atari!
Yay!
Hold on, real quick.
Yep.
Let's do the quick wheel spin.
Oh, yeah. So we have a wheel spin. Go ahead. All right, tell everybody all about it.
All right, so we try to do this monthly, but the wheel spin is, well, I'll do 2 wheel spins. The first wheel spin will be for members, and we always try to give away some NOG merchandise, thanks to Graphic God, whether a hat, shirt, so on. So I'll reach out to one of the members if they pick a choice on what they want, and then the second drawing would be a $20 gift card for you know, whether on Xbox, Nintendo, what, you know, platform of your choice. So
Nice.
if you're over, get a gift card for that. So I kind of went through that with Timmy. Kind of struggled there a little bit, but we'll work it out. So
nice.
And I wish everybody luck. I appreciate everybody that has showed up in the show throughout the beginning. So throughout I've been grabbing people's names and put them on the wheel spin. So.
All right, and you should be able to. Let me see.
Have
I can.
I hit share already?
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, I'm sharing right now.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I'm able to. Let me do it this way. All right, hold on. Hold on. That might be the way to do it. Play capture. Everything looks okay. Okay, so we have the wheel spin. So
yeah.
All right.
All right, everybody ready? Let's see how rigged this is. And we may have to do more than one spin to get a member. So if a member pops up right away, then not, we'll keep spinning until we get a member.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. First spin.
And this is for... We have a member. Relic.
Relic Gamer. It's rigged.
It's rigged.
It's rigged. He was on the show the other
Congratulations,
day.
Relic. Relic is... And what does Relic win?
Relic, you have a choice. You can get a hat, shirt, underwear, socks, NOG. You want to show off NOG any way you can, sir. So I'll get with you on Twitter, DM, and get your information.
All right. All right.
All right. So now the second wheel spin will be for, and this includes members too. So, because since they're a member, we got to kind of treat them. And this will be for a $20 gift card of your choice.
All right. Take Relic out of the wheel.
Let's see.
I think click OK.
Hold on. Oh yeah.
See if it. Yeah, and he's got to remove him out. Yes. Oh, Relic says he wants a hat.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's
Here we
see
go.
what we got.
Second spin. Oh, it is definitely rigged.
Hang on. Oh, sorry. The winner is Boogie.
And
Boogie.
even though you're a guest, I know in the past we didn't do that.
We
but I
have
think
done that. Back from the Dead one.
Yeah, he did. So it's definitely rigged. So sorry, but no, back you get a gift card of your choice. I think I know what you would want. So.
Yes, I think Boogie is going to want a PlayStation gift card.
Or Switch.
Right, or Switch. Right. So congratulations.
Actually, thank you. But please, if you can, would you mind respinning it for another member or chat audience member? I've won enough from this community. I don't want to win on a show that I'm guesting on, if that makes sense. Try to give back rather than take.
All right, sir. I'll leave that up to you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You're a good man, Boogie Man. All right, well, reshare
Next
your
time
screen.
you're
Let's
in
do it
chat, you can win another time.
Yep, but next time you're in chat, all's fair.
All right, here we go.
All right, hang on. You got to reshare.
Oh yeah. No, it's rigged, sir. It doesn't matter if I share or not. All right.
All right, hold on. Hopping back up. Okay.
All right. Another wheel spin. Someone else has a chance. Thanks to Boogie. There we go. Oh,
Brother Lemon.
it's definitely rigged.
Ah.
I'll reach out to him and DM. Congrats,
All right.
Lemon.
Congrats, Brother Lemon. All right. Always good to see. Always good. So this is the we try to give back a little bit ourselves too. So as you know, if you see people, so I don't usually try to, talk about the membership, but you see those names scrolling down below the NLG picture there. Those are our wonderful channel members, our friends of NLG, and they are kind enough to be channel members. It's $2 a month, and all of that, every bit of that comes in from super chats, from if you guys are willing to do that for us, we give that back to you guys in these merchandise giveaways, these gift card giveaways. We do it with game streaming and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much. It's because of all of you, our channel members, that we get the chance to do that. So oh, thanks, Monkey Punch. He says I could just buy your merch. Don't need to win, guys. And you know what? every piece of merch, NLG merch that is purchased either by us for giveaways or directly, and it's in the description below, all goes back to Graphic God. We actually don't make a dime on it. It all goes back to Graphic God. DJC! Chuck's in the house!
Yo!
Is this the Pac-Man stream? Someone told me there'd be Pac-Man and Punch and Pie. What's up, brother? It's good to see you. All right, so on to what Sean has been waiting for us to discuss, and that is happy anniversary to the Atari. To Atari, the company. Atari is celebrating its 50th anniversary, which is only 2 years older than me, 1 year older than Peter. Sorry, Peter.
Wow.
I know. Can you believe it? I mean, I had a 2600. I mean, I was a pretty big Atari guy. Yes, I love my Intellivision. But I had a 2600, and then as I grew up, again, my first real computer outside of a VIC-20, which didn't last in the house very long, my first real computer was an Atari 800, and then a 1200 XL. I did a lot of gaming on that Atari system. I still have some discs. I still emulate it. I really, I've really played a lot. I had an Atari Jaguar, or as our friend Cyrus would say, Jaguar. And now I have a VCS. So there's a lot of Atari games that I really enjoyed throughout the years, including Driver, including Test Drive Unlimited. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of great.
Test Drive Unlimited, is that old?
It's Xbox 360.
Oh, yeah, on there. Yeah.
So, and what I'm showing here in a video is our good friend Myke and his team over at Digital Eclipse is bringing out an Atari 50th anniversary celebration. I guess it's a game, somewhat. It's kind of a whole thing. It's actually an interactive timeline. It's got interviews. It's got stories. But it also has games. And games that you'll be able to play. There's Major Havoc, there's Centipede, there's Star Raiders, and they're even including Lynx and Atari Jaguar games in this collection. One of the team at Digital Eclipse wrote a brand new emulator for the Jaguar. So people are going to get to play some crazy stuff.
And that'll be on only on the VCS?
No, it's coming for VCS, Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and 5, Steam, and Epic Games.
Yeah,
But
I definitely picked that up.
Yeah. There's a new Yar's Revenge reimagined that's going to be on here. If anybody remembers Yar's Revenge. There is Sword Quest Air World. So there's an actual Sword Quest had 3 games. I think it was Fire World or Fire, Earth, and Water? Somebody can correct me in the chat on that one. But inspired by the design and concepts of the original Sword Quest creator Todd Fry, Digital Eclipse has created the 4th and final entry in the series, Air World. Haunted houses. So the original Haunted House for the Atari 2600 gets a 3D voxel-based sequel called Haunted Houses. Neo Breakout, so a new breakout / Pong kind of game. Quadra Tank, the first new entry in the classic Tank series since 1978's Combat. And then the New Year's Revenge, and then just a slew of old games. There are supposed to be, looking to see 90 games in this collection.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm so getting this.
Yeah.
This is
definitely. I definitely have Atari's always a piece of my gaming history. It's, I have a love for Atari, even though it really hasn't been. Of course, I moved on from Atari years ago, but every once in a while, I'd like to go back to some of those old games. And for me, so Atari for me, I started on the 2600, and we got it. My grandfather had it, and he gave it to me and my brother. So right away we were excited. We fell in love with it because some of those games that we played on the arcade, like Asteroids and Centipede, we were like, cool, we could play these at home. I think when we first started, we had Frogger and Pac-Man and Asteroids, and I can't remember a couple others, but some of your main ones, right? Yeah. And then over, I don't know how, a couple of years that we had it before Nintendo came out, we would always beg our mom when go to the mall, and KB stores was in the mall, and sometimes over the years, I guess when things started, you see the Atari boxes behind on the shelf, kind of, to where you can't get to it easily, and the art, you love the art on the boxes, and of course that's why they did it, because that's what it got your attention right away, and you're like, you're like, ooh, you just all this imagination in your head, like, ooh, what's that game about? And most times you were disappointed, but and then I remember over time, a lot of those Atari games went into the bargain bin right outside the store, and so I can't confirm or deny if there was some 5-finger discounts, but not
boy,
for me.
This has been a dark and evil podcast
Guilty
tonight.
by association. So I didn't tell on my brother, but he had those ways. So I know one of my favorite games on Atari that also led into Super Tecmo, because it was 10-yard, and really got into that. And one funny thing that I remember the most, until my brother finally caught onto it, when I found out, like, on the backside you can put it on turbo for player one, and he just could not figure out, like, how the hell my character, my football player, was faster than his. And then of course when he found out, he was pissed. So we were definitely competitive. So definitely have a love for Atari, and I'm really glad to see that what they've done these past couple of years with the VCS, they've done a lot of work to try to bring themselves back into being relevant again in the gaming industry, and bringing in refreshing some of these old games. I know they've done it over the years. You have different pitfalls and so on, but I like what they're doing now, and I like what the VCS is about, and I see the support. So I think if they can keep going and working with some of these new and indie developers and bring some new games to the VCS, they definitely can make their place back into the gaming community, the gaming world. So They definitely belong. You know, Atari games are definitely unique. And I noticed a lot of these games are also in television and Coleco too, right? But and like you said, that what Atari's doing, like they're doing something different, and then experience, and then if you play that same game on the Amico, you have a different experience too with that same game. So it's fun. It's interesting seeing these old school and gaming industry companies kind of make a comeback. So 50 years, man. That's I'm glad to say that I'm younger than that, you know. So I don't feel too old. I'm younger than 50 years.
Yeah, you are.
Just
You are.
just by a couple. I'll be 48 here next month. So.
So Peter, when you were growing up and a wee lad overseas, did you get into the Atari stuff?
Not any of the old stuff. I mean, they must have had them because years later I saw them, but I was not exposed to them. My uncle, he was born into computers like Apple II and stuff.
All right. Yep.
And after that, I was more exposed to Commodore 64, and that was huge.
Did that also have some of the same games that were on Atari or television?
Well, I think it's later stuff.
Oh, okay, so we're already past. So you had any arcade or anything that you were exposed to, like Centipede and Asteroids or Frogger?
Not till later.
Yeah.
Wow. Wish I had to see. I don't have much in the way of Atari videos just yet. I'm working on it.
Yeah. And another big game too was like the thing with Centipede. That was one great thing about the ball, right? It was that one, and what other game that had that?
Well, there was Millipede, which was the sequel to that. What else did they have that had the ball? Crystal Castles had the ball. That was a roller game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
Let me see. Games
But
that had roller balls.
But the joystick on the when they brought the Atari to the homes, the joystick was definitely different. Because my first console, if you want to call it, was the Pong, and they had the controllers with the wheel and stuff like that, and it just one game. But when Atari showed up in the house, the joystick was cool.
Oh yeah.
At the time, it was new. So.
Here we go. Here we go. Games that worked with a trackball. Atari Football, Atari Soccer, Atari Baseball, Centipede, Missile Command used trackball.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What else was Crystal Castles? I was right about that. Centipede Millipede, Marble Madness, which was Atari, which, by the way, fun fact, was created by Mark Cerny. Let's see, what else? Rampart, which was an Atari game. Golden Tee was not. So they had a few. They had quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
So, what about you, Boogie? I know you talked about, this a little bit in your starter, in your history. So, what do you remember about back then?
To be honest, it's gonna sound really sad, but I remember Pong.
No, hey man, I had the Telstar, the Sears Telestar thing. That was
I
my
had the
Pong.
Pong system.
Yeah.
that was
But
that was my first system.
But I had
No.
the thing is I had such limited exposure to it because, like I said, it was my cousins, and it was before I really got into like Nintendo or any of that, and I didn't see that cousin very often. That cousin lives like from where I'm at now about 13 hours away, I think, but had always lived like 8 hours drive away, and is on the opposite side of the family and all sorts of things. So I didn't see that cousin very often, but when I look at collections like these, like I'm somebody who looked at what was the name of that movie, Ready Player One, and was like, man, I wish those games were available today. And so now that we get collections like this, I'll be honest, like I think this is wonderful. It's amazing for if nothing else, game preservation and history.
Yeah.
Because of the interviews and stuff, which I'm a huge supporter of. That's one of the things that I love about the Xbox is the backwards compatibility program. But I wish that more companies, I mean, because there are a lot of companies out there that have this kind of storied history that like Atari does, and they're just not doing anything with those old IPs. And it breaks my heart because even though I don't have as much of exposure to something like the Atari, like even old school Nintendo games and old school Sega Genesis games, there were tons of third-party ones that were by companies that we know and love today that aren't doing what they could with the IP or aren't doing any more than making pachinko machines. Konami. But anyway, but that's what bothers me is like things like this are amazing, and for even without the little tidbits of history and the interviews and whatnot, just if it were the games, like I'm so down for that. The first show I think I ever saw yours, maybe even the second one, was the one about when you were talking about the Amico and Earthworm Jim being on the Amico, and I remember thinking to myself, when that comes out, I'm going to pick that up. Like if that's the only way I can play that game or play, those era games, that's the way I will do it. Because I want to be able to have that, not just for myself, because I want to be able to go back, but because I'm a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit sadistic in the fact that like I want my children to play older games before they play newer games.
I like that.
I want them to experience what we experienced growing up, or before they experience the modernization of everything with a touchscreen.
Yeah, I yeah, no doubt. I like that attitude.
I mean, it's only right we had to suffer; they should suffer too, right? Like I'm just saying, I can't be the only one that feels that way. Like I've suffered with no saves and password locks, level systems, and all sorts of things going on with Genesis and Nintendo and that era and before. Shouldn't they have to experience what that's like to appreciate what they have nowadays?
Dude, you're making me cry. I think it is always a good thing to show. Like I do this with my kids, right? To show them where gaming came from, right? Before there was Minecraft, before there was, well, my kids don't play Fortnite because, well, I'm a good parent. Before, Hello Neighbor and all that stuff. There was this, and showing them what it was like,
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with showing gaming history and let them play something that you played. Hey, I played this when I was a kid. Check it out, and they may dig it. But then they may also be like, oh, the graphics suck.
Right.
To that note, my son actually just laid his hands on the Xbox controller recently, and the very first game that he played was, and like actually played instead of just like taking 100 screenshots of the loading screen, was Sonic from Sonic Mania.
My kids are playing Sonic Mania.
I want to get my daughter that too, because she does love the movies, and we talked about it. And I told her I need to introduce you into Sonic game. Real quick, shout out to Parent Plug. He made it before we left.
Yes.
In the show.
Oh.
I like it. It's a sweet mother of well Lord. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, we're still holding strong here too with our Crispy Bomb. Brother Crispy Bomb is in the house. Crispy does not agree. Does not agree with us, and that's okay. So however, he does say, I would start with Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I could get on board with that. I could get on board with that. So, but I mean,
well, like Mike, you were talking about that your son. Remember, he played when you went to Everything Gaming conference.
Oh right,
or too many games.
Yeah.
What was he playing? He got into while you were. He got
Oregon
digital
Trail.
Dysentery.
The Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail.
And wouldn't go away till he wouldn't leave it till he beat it. He played it on. I wonder if there's any chance that I still have that video somewhere. He did not come off of that Mac, and he played it on a Mac of all things. Hold on, let me see if I've got it. Yep, hold on.
But yeah, no, this is cool. Bit. I definitely want to get this collection, and then I'll introduce that to my daughter. Tell her, here, check these out. Even my oldest daughter. Tell her, here it is. Check it out.
Yeah. So this is a then 14-year-old child. Let me see.
And that was how long ago?
So 2019.
What are some of the cool things
2019.
you've seen that
hold on, and he is on an old Mac, and he sat there and got dysentery several times. No. And beat it.
Yeah, so no, it's good that they can bring these games and share it on multiple platforms, because it is great for preservation. And you're bringing these games to where people have a preference to play. So not everybody can do emulation. Not everybody has an old school Atari or whatever, and collects everything. So.
Yeah, and
this brings it to your console, so you can say this sucks.
Right. So Crispy says the 15-year-old loves Subnautica and Ark. My 7-year-old is playing Subnautica, but my 7-year-old is also playing Sea of Thieves. So, but again,
please don't get too big into Ark. I've got over 1,000 hours in that game. I try to drag myself away from that all the time.
So do I, sir. I did back then when I got laid off in 2015. That was my job. My wife would leave while I was taming something, come back, and I'm still taming it. It became a running joke.
Oh.
Yeah, I was playing that last week, and I pulled myself off of it for the past week, and I've been I think I put about 50 hours in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Fun fact, I don't like Dragon Ball Z, the anime, but I am hooked by that game.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, there's brother Myke. Hold on, I gotta put the trailer back up since he's here. We were just showing Oregon Trail. So hold on a second. Let me bring the.
What's up, Myke?
I told him we wanted to get him on soon because I want to talk about this collection, and Myke is a good friend of ours. He's been on before. Myke has allowed us to use. I know it's still a ways off, but he's allowed us to use his Night Stalker footage in our intro. So, but Myke is a wonderful guy, a hell of a developer. Some of you folks who don't know him as well might know him by iDarb. But I know him. I know him as and those of us old guys know him as much more. So, Lady Venture says your son looks just like. Yeah, he kind of does. He actually does. He is now taller than me though. He is like a foot taller.
Wow.
We miss you too, Myke, and I'll get with you. I'll get with you on coming on. I want to talk about this collection. We want to definitely talk some more Atari. I want to, and I am dying to see, because I'm emulating my Jaguar now in RetroArch. I am dying to see the emulator you guys built for the Jaguar stuff, because it's I need this game into my veins as fast as possible. So but I have the only thing that I missed kind of in the Atari world was the links. So I'm also looking forward to it. And honestly, I did not get an Evercade, right? So this will be my first foray into really playing some Link stuff. But look at some of these updates to these games too that they're putting in. Like there's Major Havoc, which I found fun. But look at this this Pong looks really cool. It's like a Pong breakout. So
yeah,
it plays sweet on Switch. Jaguar on Switch. Nice. I'm going to be getting this on the VCS. I just feel like that is the place to play it. You know what, Myke? Since you're in the chat, you can answer one question. Are any of the games that are on this collection on the VCS going to use the spinner on the classic controller? So like Tempest 2000 and Major Havoc, are they going to use the spinner? Because if they are, I'm gonna be in heaven. I just feel like the VCS is the place that I need to get this game.
And it's confirmed. The spinner is a yes.
Yes.
That's good.
That's it. Sean,
keeps that old feel.
Sean Dell, we're getting this on the VCS, brother. So, and you know what? I want to give shout out, because the fact that you guys are putting it out on the VCS is really awesome. All right. This is a big damn deal. Sorry, Crispy.
Oh.
Oh.
Did you see that? Some other news. And we have a pedal solution for other consoles we haven't discussed yet.
Ooh. We have breaking Myke news here on the NLG show. So, all right, we're going to.
That's gonna be hot.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to have him come on and talk with us. It's been too long anyway. If you guys hadn't seen it from, I think 2 years ago was the last time he was on, so we've all aged a little bit more. We really had a great conversation with Myke. We got a lot of great insight into his history. Some things we knew, but some things that we didn't. Some fun. We had a great time. It was just a bunch of old friends chopping it up. So yeah, way too long. We definitely. So I will get with you when you get back off the road, and we'll get you on before you get too busy.
Look forward to that.
Yeah. So Sean
I
and
missed out on last time he was on.
You did. So Sean and I will be getting it on VC.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking very forward to this, and happy anniversary to Atari. I mean, look, they've had a tumultuous. Myke, thanks for popping in, brother. Thanks for popping in. And we will see you soon. You know, and as you know, Atari has had some tumultuous time. If brother Nick is still in the chat, Geeks with Cash, I urge you to go check out brother Geeks channel, because he has a really good video on the rise and fall of Atari. We have talked about it on Retro Roots a little bit, but and is it on? It's on your new channel, isn't it? It's on Geekstorian. Hold on, let me. Which I need to get added. Please remind me, Nick. I need to add that link to I have to add that link to the Gamers United Guild stuff. But here is Nick's Geekstorian channel and the rise and fall of Atari, which he did week or so ago. Yes, Monkey Punch, you need to be a guest here. We have talked about it before. I got to get my guest spots back up. I have this. It is always my fault. I know it's always my fault. I am way too lax. We got to get Brother Boom on here. I got to get Jay Fonzarelli on here. We need to get Myke back on here. It took long enough to get Boogie on here. That was on me. All this is on me. Because I suck at
Slacking, Myke.
I suck at
I wasn't saying nothing.
So when will we be doing a Pac-Man show? Okay, you know what? Since there is a Pac-Man game in Game Pass, you know what?
Okay. Yeah,
Chuck,
we gotta do that.
For you, is that Peter? You've played it. Is that multiplayer? That Pac-Man?
No, I don't think so.
Well, damn. All right, hold on. I've been tagged in something.
Uh-oh.
All right. Yobi said, oh, I know what he's getting at. Hold on. Here, I'll, Yobi, there's been a lot of, we try not to talk about this nonsense. There's been a lot of consternation about the $70 games. But here are and this is true.
Oh God.
You could pay $80-$90 for a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, no, they were expensive back then. That's why, we grew up poor, and my mom was not going to buy us all these games whenever we wanted. We had to borrow from friends and go to a flea market where my brother would trade games. That was the only way we were able to get a lot of games on the NES and Super NES. But we were able to get some decent ones, though.
Look at the left side, if you can see it. Legend of Gaia, Illusion of Gaia, $95.
That was the Wild West of prices back then. Man.
Yeah.
It was.
How that didn't cause a crash. The good old days.
Well, this was around 87?
This is Super Nintendo games. It had to be, mid-90s?
It was like late 80s, early 90s.
Yes.
Super Nintendo. So
Super NES came out in 1990 in Japan and 1991 in North America.
Okay, yeah, and I was already in high school, so.
Yeah. Wow. So. So check out Geeks' Rise and Fall of Atari video. Check that link. And remind me, Nick. Seriously, remind me to add you to.
Oh, I gotta check that. Yeah.
Yeah. Remind me to add you to the thing down below. In fact, I need to figure out. I got some work to do there too. All right. Before we roll out, I know it's 12:24. We've gone way long. Thanks to having Brother Boogie on. It's been awesome. But
no, it's long overdue because we haven't had a podcast
long overdue.
in 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. A couple of quick things, and I don't think that I get it. I'm just gonna have to pull it up on YouTube and show it. I want a quick couple of words from everybody on Skull and Bones. So I'm gonna ask a controversial question. People aren't gonna like this question. I don't know. Maybe people will like this question. Maybe in my old age, a little controversy never hurt. Let me bring up the trailer while we talk. I know a lot of people who have walked away from Sea of Thieves because of the problems that Sea of Thieves has had with, you know, PvP and grifting and all of this stuff. Right now, thankfully, my 7-year-old has not had to deal with any of that. And honestly, he's definitely a pirate. He doesn't go around doing what you know, some of the PC people do and all that stuff. But when Spencer's in a Sea of Thieves party, he is the captain, and that's all there is to it. So, you know, some people love it, some people don't. All that said, have a great night, Nick. Don't forget to send me that message. So, and this would be a great one for Pluck. So Pluck says, I'm just curious, not looking forward to it. DragonHeartYOBY says, don't care. But, have a great night, Brother Crispy. What about you guys? And I'll go at the end, but, you know, Peter, you are a pirate legend in Sea of Thieves. I really want to know your take on this.
Well, what I really love, at least what they promised so far, is that they have, you know, dedicated PvE servers. You can either play solo or co-op, and then, or you can opt for PvP, and then it's PvP, PvE, and do whatever you want. So I really like that. I wish Sea of Thieves had something similar. So that's what I like about the promise of this this game. The thing is, it's Skulls and Bones. It takes more place on your ship. You're not really like walking as characters or on your ship. You're just steering the ship and just like Sea of Thieves, there's not really a campaign, which is, in my opinion, too bad. A lot of campaigns, like, you know, playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag is one of my favorite Assassin's Creed. Really love that, but yeah, we'll see what this game does. I mean, they keep on adding like quests, and that's kind of what you do, or things that you can do, and they keep adding to it. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. How many people on here?
Is it going to be worth my $70 day one? I don't know.
Now, how many people can multiplayer though? How did they say?
I think you can be with.
Hold on, I'm looking.
And then, of course,
I mean, on your PvE server, there can be multiple, but how many people can actually go
up to 3?
Possible it can only be 2.
Groups of 3. Yep.
So you would have your own ships. It's not like Sea of Thieves where you're all sharing a ship and you have your role.
This would be correct.
Okay.
You steer your own ship, so you can.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You have your own crew and all that.
Different types of ships and yeah.
I like that because, you know,
and they probably have a bunch of like world events, you know, what you currently have in like Assassin's Creed games and.
Yeah, they definitely. So this game is definitely. Yes, there's some similarities to Sea of Thieves, but there are a lot of differences.
It's more about boating in here.
Yeah.
More a pirate ship kind of thing.
And that's one thing like we brought up in the chat that the big thing about this is that, like you said, that we can play together, PvE together. We can have our own ships. We don't have to worry about the PvP part of it. You know, we have that option.
Yeah.
But I think this would be fun for us to stream together. Yeah. And one thing that intrigues me too, I'm a big Ubisoft player. I love Ubisoft. I love Assassin's Creed and stuff that they've done there. And there's a little bit of like Black Flag had also ships and pirates.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Odyssey, but I heard people talk about that and they enjoyed the ship stuff in that. And then on Valhalla, it's not huge like this, but you have longboats, but it's kind of cool. You have your own crew, but then you also raid. You go and do raids. So
yeah,
and I enjoy.
And I think you have something similar as in here, except.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Except I don't think you will go too much on shore, like, but
raids on land, yeah. So it'd be interesting how they do this, and then, you know, over time, as people playing it and they get feedback, they can make improvements, add on things. Hopefully, they will support this for a while. I mean, Ubisoft has done a good job with, you know, where you have games that are where you have multiplayer, like Division. I think they've done a good job where you can pop in and out and join in together. So, and you have your own uniqueness when it comes to that, like on Division and Wildlands. So this would be fun to be unique. It's, you know, a lot of people love to be pirate. I like that whole, you know, genre theme. Yeah, I look forward to this, and we've talked about it, that we'll have fun playing this, stream this together. So,
and that's what
how well can you play this on a submarine? You know, it's like heavily service oriented, I think. So I'm always worried about that, especially with Ubisoft.
Well,
yeah.
But I mean, I think in order for it to, it's going to be, in that way, I think it is going to be like Sea of Thieves. It's going to be this is going to be a games as a service game, right?
Oh yeah, the cosmetics and all that.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big thing. Hopefully, you know, when you're in the game, you're grinding. It's not too crazy, too expensive, because that's one of the complaints we had too, right, Peter? That in the beginning, some of the stuff was too expensive, right? I think they did adjust that a little bit, but I haven't played in a while, so, but they listened to that, so we'll see what they do here. I mean, definitely they're going to want to make money. It's over time, and they're going to support it, and they want people to buy their skins and stuff like that over time, and you know, maybe will be cool.
I hope this will make Rare realize that they need, you know, PvE service.
Hopefully
they really do.
If this does
so many
attract
people.
Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, so many people want the PvE service on its Sea of Thieves because they stopped playing the game, and I've seen so many of them. It's like,
nope, you're right. I think Rare is kind of blind to that, and they're missing out on having a community of PvE players.
Yeah, they almost care more about streamers and their viewers versus, like, you know, people who play this, like, you know, not 24/7.
Which is funny because we would stream a lot more Sea of Thieves if there was that kind of PvE kind of thing, or at least
if that would be the case, I would have been playing like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, can you
imagine?
But
I'm not like starting adventures and other stuff by, you know, almost being done and coming back to the servers, and there's a boat waiting for you, and and they try you not to finish that quest. I mean, but an adventure, I mean, that's the aggressor has nothing to lose.
Because if this game does a good job, it plays well, and you start seeing a lot of people streaming it, and you see 4 players have their own ships, and they're unique, and people are having fun. hopefully Rare sees that. They're like, we might need to do that.
Yeah, and for that reason, I hope this game is successful, just to
I hope so too.
get a better Sea of Thieves. And this looks cool.
Yeah,
It does. It
Yeah.
looks good.
Definitely very interested in to this game.
I also, I mean, if you look at the design, it looks like it is a more bustling, you know, it's not just people standing there at their, at various places for you to go up and talk to and then go off and do your thing. It does look like there are people walking around the cities, the towns and stuff like that, depending on if you get a crew, how that works. There's a lot more to this from a you know what it reminds me of? It almost reminds me a little bit of Black Flag, where, even when you go into town, there's people walking around, there's people, interacting.
No, Ubisoft has done a great job with Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, where it may be a huge map, but there are many areas where you see a lot of interaction, NPCs doing their thing. It looks lively. Even out in the wild, you have animals and so on. They do a great job with that. They do detail and just having enough there to kind of keep you entertained, and you don't feel like you're in an empty world in some areas. So no, I have some confidence in this. It looks good. And when it comes out November 9th, so like a couple of days before God of War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Which,
right.
I mean, I know a game like this to be launched in the holidays when you have Call of Duty and you have other big games, because is October looking pretty crowded, right? But still, if they do a good job, the game comes out, the board spreads, you see streams, and people are having fun with it. I think it'll do well. Hopefully, it can find its market and its community to kind of keep this game relevant throughout the holidays and beyond. So we'll see. I mean, it's multi-plat, so to me, it's no big deal that it's launching the same week as God of War Ragnarok. Because, you can play this, and then if you have the PS5, hey, I'm going to go play some Ragnarok, and then you can come back on this. Hey, I'm going to jump on this and play with friends. Because if it is good and it keeps you engaged, then you're going to want to come back and play it. So on a regular basis. You want to be able to level up, get better ships and, look good. So.
Man, I kind of feel like I should have gone first, and I say that because I'm about to crap on this game.
All right, well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Crap on it.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's 3 titles, including this one, that I want to love them so much, because piracy, not internet piracy, but piracy is near and dear to my heart, because it runs in my veins. Like way back down my family tree are like old school pirates, like on the sea pirates. But Sea of Thieves needs its thing with the PvE, but I would say that I haven't played the game, but I have the game. So there's a game called Atlas. I would say that game might be more for you. Same devs that made Ark, that already do that sort of thing, and with the building and everything. But again, same devs that made Ark means it's in early development and probably not optimized very well. And Ubisoft could have had something that I wanted and was like so very much grateful for in this title. I looked forward to it when it first was announced, but they missed the mark hard for me, because you can't make your own Pirates Cove. And they've shown you can do that in Black Flag, and that they have the tech to do that. Mm-hmm. And if each pirate owns their own ship, then why can't each pirate have their own little niche corner of the map? You want $70, I'm supposing, for this, or the Ubisoft way, $120 for the full package, which I'm okay with if I'm not paying for microtransactions on top of. I've gone on record in the past and said I'll pay $100 for a game if it comes with everything. But even at $70, you're talking about, you don't know whether or not it's going to be PvE servers or if it's all going to be PvP. Looks like, from what I'm seeing here in the trailer, there could be.
Well,
PvP.
no, that's what they said they did though. They have separate servers.
Well,
for
that's
it, so it's
well,
not,
that's
it's
good.
not mixed.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good. I'll stand by that. But the other thing is with the fact that you're, I think if I heard you guys correctly, one person per ship, like one person runs their own ship, and then you fleet up as like a multitude of ships. Is that how I'm understanding this?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then why isn't
Yes.
there the pirate code like idea in the mix? Like, I don't understand why they didn't go that far and allow you to have like a place to build up your ship and do everything like that. Like, it kind of, I feel like
Yeah,
it's a good concept, but I think they need more, just because they have, it doesn't seem like a fully fleshed out idea. It seems like we want to play in this space too. We've proven that we can do this with Black Flag. Let's do this much, get it out there and figure out what we can do. I don't know. Again, we don't have the game yet. It's not out. I don't know how fully polished or thought out it's going to be, but from what I've seen, there are some features missing to me.
And they probably want to get it out as quickly too. It's been, they've been working on it for quite some time.
Yeah,
so.
there was talk that this game wasn't coming ever. Like that, this was vaporware for a while.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they have some changes and as far as who was in managing studio? But no, I agree with you, Boogie. Because like Valhalla, you do have your own town that you can build up over time, so it would be cool to if they had something like that, like you're saying. And then maybe a community hub, kind of like Destiny, to where maybe you can kind of run around, maybe even jump on each other's ships or something. I don't know. So I think, like Sea of Thieves, they're gonna build. Hopefully, they build a solid, stable game, and enough there for you to stay engaged, and also enough there for you and your friends to be engaged together. And then over time, with the feedback and so on, they can, add some of these things that people are asking for. So who knows? We'll see.
All right. Well, you didn't exactly, crash on it. You had concerns. I mean, it's okay to have concerns. So.
Yeah, weren't they supposed to? Is it next week or something? They were going to show like some 6 minutes of gameplay or something like that.
This is 7.
Yep.
This is that.
Oh, this is the. Oh, okay, that footage.
This
I haven't
the
really
gameplay.
seen some of this stuff. So.
Yeah, this is the gameplay. So. And again, this is the stuff that I like.
Yeah, hopefully we will see more before it releases. So we can make up our minds.
Yeah, for $70. Yeah. So if we see that it's worth it, okay, we'll do it. But I mean, even though it's 70, I wouldn't be surprised like December it'd be on sale. Not saying that if it's a bad or if it's a bad game, but
yeah, that's
a lot of times.
Well, I mean, that's the Ubisoft way, isn't it? Even with the $120 games, they're like they sell it for $120, and then that Christmas it's on sale for like $70, $80.
Yeah.
Right. No.
It's just how bad do you want to play it?
Right.
That's the premium pay for.
Yeah. Do you want right? That's a good point.
And like I was saying,
You know?
even though a lot of games have been delayed, it's still crowded. This fall is still crowded with a lot of games in October and November.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, you just gotta pick and choose, play when you can, when you want. Just the way it is.
All right. All right. So I've looked down at the clock, and for 3 of us here, it is 1:45.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to keep going, it is time. This is the first time in months that we have crossed the 3-hour mark. So, I think it is time that we call it a night.
Boogie's got his 3-hour badge.
Yep. Yes, you do.
3-hour tour badge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we will come back around next week to go over God of War Ragnarok, and some other stuff. But brother Boogie man, it was great to finally have you here, and to get your unique history and your takes on some of this stuff. It's been it's been wonderful to have you on. You are, of course, as we do everybody, you're welcome here anytime. You're part of the family. You're part of our gaming family, and we love that. I appreciate you coming on and chatting it up with us. And you're muted.
Sorry about that. I said I appreciate the opportunity. I enjoyed coming on, and I've had an absolute blast, man. The one thing I would ask is if anybody happens to be up at around this hour on like a Saturday, could you hit me up for some multiplayer gaming? Because I don't know many people that play at this hour, from like this hour until like 4 or 5.
That would be fun speculation. Go play, because I know for a fact.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that brother Mav is up all hours of the night playing, because I've gotten notifications at like 2 a.m. So he is your man. Pluck, and you know what? For Sea of Thieves, they're right. Pluck is the man. Yeah. See, he says LOL, but he knows I'm right.
I've seen him play multiple different streams at the hours that I'm awake playing games. I've caught quite a few of them. It's just the thing that I have issue with is like when I'm playing at this hour, there's not really the ability to be too loud or talk too loud. So I tend to stray away from that multiplayer gaming at this hour. So
well, there's your guy. So, but where can people find you?
On Twitter, on Xbox, on I would say YouTube. I've got streaming software set up. It's just that for some reason the capture card doesn't work properly. So I'll have to figure something out there. But so don't look for me there unless I'm in somebody's chat, because I'm typically all over the gaming shows. I try to hit everyone at least once a week, and try and talk to everybody or say what's up at least. Can't always be in depth, but best place to find me is Twitter or Xbox. And yes, you can find me at Xbox. I'll be on there probably right after the show tonight, back into DBZ Kakarot trying to beat it.
There you
All
go.
right. Nice. Chat. I had noticed they had started falling off about 12:15. So
My bad.
we had a good crowd though.
It happens
It happens. They were with us. They were with us mostly until about 12:20, and then people started falling off. So thank you everybody who was here. Thank you for those of you who have hung out all night. And brother Mav, it's great to see you. I gotta start getting back in his chats. I caught up with the Fun Speculation podcast from yesterday. Of course, Brother Mav is on. Unfortunately, he had to. They're not doing Fun Pop anymore, which is sad. I did like Fun Pop, but he'll be
That's
back.
a shame.
I
I hadn't
know.
caught that he wasn't doing that because I love that
Yeah.
show.
And Friday nights, after Iconic Games podcast is the Xbox, is his Xbox podcast. So it's a great, great night of stuff. And then, you can usually, Xbox Ultimate is just a great show. So
I'm
it's
wearing
always
that
great
shirt.
There you go.
There you go. It's always great to have Brother Mav hang out with us. I've got to get him and Sister Caitlin back on the show too.
Yeah.
So,
If he's still in the chat, I'm gonna need that hat, brother. I need that black and white hat to go with the shirt.
nice. And so everybody, there he is, Brother Relic, Brother Myke, Parent, Brother Pluck. I think Nick rolled out, Brother Yobi, Brother Crispy who rolled out, Micah. Thanks, Brother Myke, for stopping in for a few minutes, and we're looking forward to getting you back on. Brother Monkey Punch, we will get you on here very soon. Brother Chuck, Brother Sean who rolled out, Brother Jesse who did roll out. I think Brother Big Black might still be around. Marceau, Brother Marceau from up north. Always great hanging out with you. Had a great time playing Fall Guys with you last week. You're welcome anytime. He's one I'd like to try to get on here one night.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brother Bacon Ice Cream, and everybody, Myke, Relic, and Ventress, Dread, Brother Bryant, everybody who is in tonight. Thank you guys so much. And Peter, Chris, man, good to be back and talking games again.
Yes, sir. Good show. We have some news. So.
Yes, indeed. So we'll figure out some gaming to do very soon. And everybody, don't forget, Gamers United Guild down below. Check out all the great shows. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday, is GoGameGo with their open mic night, and then DJC Game Studios with Amico Forever. Mav, thank you. It just hit me. I want to give another huge shout out to Mav, Brother Fun Speculation, for keeping us, because she's rolling across the screen. I want to stop this real quick.
AssassinLupa.
I can't stop it. For keeping us in the loop on what's going on with our dear sister AssassinLupa. Lupa, if you get a chance to watch this, or Mav, you want to take this message back to John. We are all thinking about you. We are all nothing but hoping for the best and a speedy recovery. And we miss you so much. Not just here in the chat, but she games with all of us, and she's just a sweetheart of a woman, and we're just always in our thoughts, and thank you, Mav, for keeping us up to date. It really has been a help. So all right, we will see you guys ourselves next Tuesday night at 9:30. Almost said Thursday, good grief. And let me get us out of here so we can all go to sleep. Have a great week. Pick up a game controller, get some gaming in. Play on, gamers.
Adios. Have a good rest of the week.
Take care, everybody.
Happy gaming.